Clock. We're getting ready to go. SLV, wait for that 88 break.
Let's go.
Midday. Now.
Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday. He scored a banger the other day. Yeah. If we wouldn't get banned for Replay, I'd play it.
I love this.
Scored an absolute banger.
I think that's the coolest thing
my
out
man, Yokeresh. Welcome to the Midday Show. That's your boy Joey Options. I'm Sharif, and those were the big boys, Neil and Sean. Welcome to everybody. Let's bring in the chat. Say hello to everyone weaseling on in. All right, if you're new, throw your name in the chat. I want to call out new names, baby. We got Rika. Who else? We got Dalmir Lima. That's what I'm talking about. I want to see new names. Doobs McPhee. It is Friday, Joseph, so you know. Gagan the Realtor. Guggen. I'm sure I probably killed that. Chris Mills. We got Dogo. Shout out to Booted Red Sport. Yes, I want to see new names. Alfie. We got H-Star. All right, let's see. Hakuna Matata. There we go. Robert Lewis. I don't know if that's new, but I don't immediately remember it. Shout out to who else, man? We got Monica. All right, shout out to J-Dog, King Clutch, Crystal Castle. We're going to say hello to more people when we get back from Midday.
I want to mention Eli Lilly here. LLY just announced here at 11 a.m. they're going to be building a $3.5 billion Pennsylvania plant to make injectable weight loss drugs, including Retratitude. So keep an eye there in LLY. Apparently they're expecting at least 850 jobs in Lehigh Valley. Construction set for this year, 2026. So LLY pushing a little bit higher here on this update. Again, announced, not a report. The company announced it themselves, going to be building that $3.5 billion Pennsylvania plant. Back to you.
Shout out to Eric Patty. We got Naveed. We got Byron. Shout out Lear for Life. Janky Stock. Oslam. We got Steve Earn. And then Fafa Mata. Angry Rob Entertainment. And shout out to Arif Shah. Zen Zombie. And Michael Ormas. Joey.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, man. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a solid start to their Friday. Yeah, I mean, Leafs dropping 6 in a row, a lot going on. I mean, I told you, brother, I just look at the stats. I don't watch or anything along those lines. Just strictly in the fight game now. That's all I'm all about. But anyways, aside from that, guys, let's get into these overall markets. TSLL up almost 10%. Your boy's finally back in this one. Always smooth. Hakuna Matata. But no, in all seriousness, guys, 2 trades today, one of them being a loss, the other one rocking and rolling here on TSLL. As we get in around 1673, you'll see we'll do a transaction here momentarily, and then you guys can get the average price up there. But a nice ride to the top side. I was talking about it earlier in the morning when Sean and Neil were on. I was like, hey, watch out for the supply zone around 430. We break through that, then we head into that next zone around 435. We surpass that, and then now we head up into 440, where we're sitting around 16,600 contracts. And that's going to be third most from a volume standpoint, but the highest open interest, second highest open interest as I'm looking up and down the chain here on Tesla on today's session. So maybe we get the nice continuation, obviously the potential merger of SpaceX and Tesla. That would be absolutely massive. But aside from that, guys, let's take a look at what we got going on here today. SLV, SoFi. Unfortunately, SoFi didn't set up how we wanted it to. That's okay. We'll keep our eyes on it, but it looks like the continuation to the downside is going to be the narrative of today's session. Now, as for the TQQs, I was saying to everybody, man, this stuff is a hot mess. And if you head over to the daily on the triple Qs, not the TQQs, I think it's just time to avoid this unless you're willing to play the chop. I haven't traded in quite some time, neither NVIDIA, and I was trying to stay away from a lot of the mega cap names. So SPY, SLV, Tesla, and SoFi on my radar for today's session.
All right, we're involved. ORKT, yes. In at 59, Wet the Beak, best print 69, waiting for 77s, up 88%. I mean, there's more that are up on the day, but this one's setting up the best. I got the higher lows, the higher highs, the respect for the volume weighted average price, the move into the high of the day. So we're giving this one the old college try. Let's see what this one has to offer. My plan is as follows. We're looking for a defend of that mid-30s, mid to high 30s. Why? Well, that's where the volume weighted average price is, and this one is shown its propensity to respect that volume weighted average price on the day. If that is going to be the case, I'm going to base my trades off that. There it goes back into 69, not continuing through that level. 69 is the high of the day. Currently looking for a move into the 70s. I'm waiting into the high 70s. I'm speaking, of course, about 77s. I don't want to see a double top at 69. That will concern me. There it goes into 71. Let's see if we can continue moving into the mid 70s. What kind of resistance we're going to get. My plan is to add possibly into the dip at the 50s, and here it comes. I'm going to look for a possible mid 50s hold here for small share size, just to get a little bit more and possibly take out some into that $2 move, up 90.5% off the highs. So watching for continuation. I've got more on the side chart here that I want to talk about, but I want this trade to resolve. We get the mid 50s print there, not bad, not bad. Let's see if we can get something now in the mid 60s off that refresh on ORKT. So what's my move? So I'm going to look to defend into the volume weighted average price, which I said was 37. Of course, that's changed. The price action continues to evolve. It is now at 39. Prior bar low, 37. Current bar low, the one we're at right now, 51. Current bar low is 51. Back, it goes into 58. Looking for continuation now into the mid 60s for that print after the refresh into the mid 50s. So watching, there it goes. It takes out my order into the low 60s. Now waiting high 60s over here on ORKT. Can it catch another bid? It's got higher lows and higher highs on this current candle. So we're still holding trend despite the fact that it's manifesting currently into a doji candle. 62 seller. Can't shake the 62 seller. No size really posted here. 63. Moving up 64. 65. There's the print into 65. Can we get another 69? We're going to wait at 69. Seller at 65 again. Can't shake that seller. So packing the patience over here on these bad boys. Looking for more. We're going to take dip trades with a view to possibly squeezing into $2. I want to give you more information with respect to the float and the short float and all that good stuff, but got to let this trade resolve. There it goes back into 68. Looking for a 69 print now. No continuation into 69. And don't forget, we're waiting at 77s as well. So an aggressive price spike up likely gets me filled. 69, there it is again, 72, 73. Looking for the move into 77 now. No continuation, though, into the high 70s, over 100% in the Ville of Green. But can't really shake that mid to low 70s seller there, 74, 75. Boom, Joey, into 77s. We're setting up at 88s now. Let's go. Let's see what ORKT has to offer over here. Let's see if we can get possibly $2 on this monster. It's a very good stair step up, good liquidity, about 20.5 million shares traded on the day. Joseph, what do you got?
All right, man, good stuff. Yeah, so I mean, here it is. We got this one trade here, one name on. Yeah, exactly. Get him, Joey, says Ryan. Yeah, with some big fights this weekend in the boxing and the UFC world. But aside from that, guys, SLV, maybe the short's starting to come into play. This is what I was talking about, guys, for quite some time. Keep an eye out on this, right? Like, we had this volume print, this outstanding volume print. You do surpass it, but then it's followed by another, like, just inverted, or not, like a hammer candle at the highs. And then you have this massive gap down. So just be cautious of what's going on here. There might be some continuation to the downside, and you can see from a daily standpoint that print's looking pretty bearish, if you ask me. So I want to look to get involved to the downside here once again in SLV. And I was saying it earlier in the week as well. It's just like, hey, I'm looking short silver on multiple occasions. Now, if we break through the support level, I'll pull it up one more time, which we currently are, any form of a pullback, because I think buyers will step in, and I don't necessarily want to chase it, but there could be a move down into the, I mean, that's pretty hectic. I'm not going to say 80s today, but maybe 84. This could be a potential target of 86 as well, too, as you're now cracking through that $88 mark. Failed to establish multiple new highs, so keep an eye on SLV to the downside. We'll head over, because I know a lot of people have been talking about this, and I've noticed it as well, too. So let's head over to Tesla, right? You guys see what I'm getting at? Hey, Joe, 3-day expiration cycles. This is pretty cool, right? Like, we could head over to Tesla, AAPL, same thing. I'm pretty sure it's the Mag 7 that are having these 3-day expiration cycles. So again, another 3 days, 5 days. Yeah, it's relatively new. Yeah.
5, right?
Yeah, you can only get weeklies on some of them.
Interesting.
So there it is, right? Like, again, Amazon, and then we'll go over to Microsoft. So yeah, more closer dated expiration. That's pretty cool stuff. I was talking with MF Dangerous earlier this morning on the fact, I'm like, hey, he's like, Joe, I just write a lot. And I'm like, you know what, dude? to, there's something to be had in writing further dated, extremely out of the money contracts, because you're going to be receiving a lot of premium, but over time they just almost all become worthless. And we go over this stuff in the morning, so there's a system that needs to be made. I don't know necessarily how from a data collection standpoint on what I'm going to do, but we'll look into it. And you got to start somewhere, right? So that's going to go with pen to paper, and then it's like keep documenting, and then hopefully we can come up with a sustainable system. I remember I used to write in my earlier days, I used to write a lot of options, and then I took some big hits, and I kind of swayed from it. But if I go back into history, and when I used to document my options writing, my equity curve was actually really good. Like it was nice and sustained, a nice steady uptrend, but it's just those big massive hits, it would draw down the majority of it, and then eventually I'm like, hey, this is just too stressful. What am I doing with it? But maybe we head back into a little bit of options writing, and it's not necessarily the same when you form everything into a spread. You're not gonna be collecting the same amount of premium. You're gonna be protecting that downside. So you need to be cautious and wary of what you're doing. But at the end of the day, writing, and if you have the capital, then you can write naked and you can gain a lot. So I want to marry you, says Hangry Wife. Aren't you married? But anyways, hey, it is what it is. But no, thank you, Hangry Wife, much appreciated. But yeah, there goes silver to the downside, now running into $88.
All right, continuing to watch ORKT. I'm looking for a dip trade now into about 145, 140. The 10 EMA is actually a little bit below the volume weighted average price because the price action developed so quickly. So I'm looking for a dip trade now, knowing full well that prior candle ended up being a topping tail red candle, and the current candle has lower highs and lower lows. So how do I square that circle? Well, the way I do that is by looking to the lower technical area where it's found support in the past. Again, I'm talking about the volume weighted average price and the 10 EMA, which are essentially overlapping. However, it still hasn't given up the $0.50 quite yet. And both of these candles have either a 51 or 50 penny low. So I'm really unsure kind of whether I want to get in here or whether I want to wait for the money fills south of 50, right into the 10 EMA and volume weighted average price. Another defend there on the 1 minute candle at the $1.50 area, but no continuation south of that level. So we'll pack the patience. We'll see whether or not this candle ends up closing green and whether or not the prior candle, or sorry, the subsequent candle will take out the 5 minute high of this current candle. That's how I end up getting in. We have another 3 minutes or so for this current candle to close. Both of them are ended up being bottoming tail. I'm talking about the 11.05 and the 11.10 candle. Both of them are bottoming tail candles stepping into that 1.5. So now we know that there is a staunchy 1.5 buyer. Whether or not we can kind of continue, I'm going to get in small shares over here for a possible move back into the high to mid 60s. And then we're going to post into the high 70s as well. So got in at 62, and then my plan stays the same though. If it loses the $0.50, I stop out, and then I get back in the mid 40s. So let's go ahead and just do right that, because I don't want to be DCAing into this, right? So we'll get into that, and we'll give this one a try. 2 bottoming tail candles right now on ORKT. That's what has me jumping in ahead of this, ahead of the level that I just spoke about. So keeping an eye on that. There are others, but let me tell you, the look is not great today. There's a lot of them fading away, right? Like you have a lot of big gappers, Fat Bastard, FATBB, and then you have TCGL, ELPW. They're all triple-digit winners, and they all look like hot garbage in terms of chart. That's ELPW halted down below the volume weighted average price. Fat Bastard is well below that $2 area, as well as TCGL. I'm not touching that, right? So a lot of triple digit winners, but few that are setting up nicely. So that's kind of my look there. Keeping one eye though on YCBD. This one was good. It lost the volume weighted average price. It lost the dollar as well. RPGL kind of trying to dilly-dally here above the $1 area. It's got some higher lows, so some positives to this, but still substantially below that pre-market high, which I think got into about 2 high single digits, 208, 207, something like that. It's got a multi-day run over here. I'm talking about RPGL, but still, you know, not really looking all that great. So as a result, you know, we're gonna have to trade sparsely today until something breaks out midday. Now, I want to mention, I set up a new couple of chart organization here. So I'm setting up a multi-time frame look. So this is going to be my multi-time frame look. I had the opportunity to set that up today. So on the top left, we're going to have the 1. Top right is going to be the 5. Bottom left is going to be the 15. And then bottom right is going to be the hour. And then we're going to kind of be able to switch these bad boys, ORKT. And then we'll be able to have that kind of multi-time frame analysis, which will certainly help our game a little bit by giving us the broader and more narrower picture, right? So I want to mention that separately. I also want to mention that I set up some new tools on my screener. So I've got this spread column on my screener, which shows me immediately what the spread is on the stock that I'm looking at, as well as the range. Top right there of the actual screener. It'll show you the green rectangle will be like, if it's all the way to the end, the green rectangles, that means it's a lot closer to its highs. If the red rectangle means it's a lot closer to its lows. So hopefully we'll be able to use those with some success there to help our trading. I just want to mention that because I'm going to be using these new indicators, and I want you guys to be able to follow along. ELPW looks like it might be breaking out now above the volume weighted average price. So let's take a quick look at that. EPLW. It's not on the NQ, is it on the NYSE? The answer is no, so it's on the Amex. ELPW, I think it's on the Nasdaq, yeah. Halted to the upside at 153. Halt time, 11:15:49. Earliest this will be open, 11:20:49. So we'll keep an eye out on that as that just reclaimed the volume weighted average price and looking quite good. Now it's a multiple halter, so you need to be careful with that. It's had a hard time staying open all day, essentially. And here's the look. So let's flip to the 1 so we can see exactly how many times this monster's halted. We got 1, 2, 3. 3 up, 1 down, another 1 up, 4. So we're at, what are we at? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th. This is the 10th halt. Most of them have been 10 minutes. Some of them have been 5, but the majority, I would say, just a cursory view here, is 10. So ELPW, you got to be ready for that illiquidity and that kind of halting style of trade. If that's not your cup of tea, probably stay away from it. There, ORKT goes into 69 after the re-entry here. I didn't get a dip trade, sadly, into 45. That's why I jumped in when I saw the 2 bottoming tail candles into the $0.50. It means immediately to me that someone's looking to defend the $0.50. That's why I jumped in there. Next profit taker, Joey, we're going to wait at 82.
Yeah, good stuff there. Where's my friend out there saying, get in my belly? Yeah, I know. How much for the baby? But no, if you know what that is, right?
That bastard, obviously. I love it.
How much for the baby? He's like, I want the babies.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
Yeah, good poor guy. All right, yeah, I mean, here
advertising there, my boy.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't. But anyways, aside from that, guys, 50 cent, a little bit more than that here in the short on SLV. Obi, awesome on Circle. Is Obi in the chat? Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, that's why. Dude, do you have the thing? How come? Do you have the link for the pics or no?
I don't have, no.
How does Obi get that then?
I don't know.
Fabian, can you send me that?
How much
send that to me, please. Right? You don't really. All right.
Show me the real money, bro. Where the money at?
No, it's that. Where the money at? $1 as quick as you like, almost on SLV, as this thing is really starting to bleed profusely there. We're hitting the artery on silver as it's continuing to the downside. We catch $1 on TSLL. So we're just having a good time, just relaxing. But full disclosure, man, I have like 10% of the size that I had, not even less than 10% on what I have on TSLL, right? Like this full bulk of the position, a single entry, I have 10% of that on SLV. I'll pull it up for you guys right now. It's just like really, really small size. Just looking to get involved at that $88 break, and then you get to move down into 87 bucks. So let's see if we can ride this wave maybe into 85. We'll take a couple of dollars into that. Maybe even a little bit more, man, because we've been on such a monster run. This thing can really start to bleed. It's continuously bleed its own blood, and then we put the blood bag in, and then it's bleeding other people's blood as well too. So a lot going in, a lot going on, man, and it's not a good time. So a lot of people talking about, a lot of people talking about their calls and stuff getting destroyed here on silver. $85 is going to be a solid mark. So we'll keep an eye out on that one. No, I'm not, but check out Dracula. It's a pretty good series on Netflix. But aside from that, guys, we're rocking and rolling. I'm not going to piece anything out. It's Diamond Hands, Deontay Wilder right here. Also, we got Shakur Stevenson, a.k.a. Devin Haney, 1.5 versus Teofimo this weekend, which is going to be fun. And then Volk versus Diego Lopez. I think I have Lopez this week, so a lot going on in the fight world, if you guys were curious about it.
Yeah, man, I'm all for Teofimo. I don't even know how to say it. Lopez.
Yeah.
Let's just go. I'm not a big fan of Shakur Stevenson. I don't like that style. It's boring and too defensive. All right, here's the deal. We added like a psycho into this ORKT into the highs, added at 66, wet the beak at 75. I'm looking to continue to ride this higher low, higher high trend until it breaks. Simple as that. We're looking for a move into the 80s. The high of the day is 77. We have 66s on right now, prior bar low, off which I'll base a lot of my entries and exits, mid-50s, I think 56, 57, showing 69. We're definitely getting selling into the low to mid-70s, and we're really unable to clear that quite decisively with that topping tail candle going into 77 earlier, and that still, end up being a problem here because we can't really shake that third $0.75. Still up 100%, not looking all that bad, but yeah, a bit of a, I don't want to say a choppy trade. It's continuing to put in higher lows and higher highs, but there have been times where, it's breached prior bar low only to retrace it quite aggressively subsequently. So you have to be ready for that. You may get wicked in and wicked out at times, and that's kind of just part and parcel of trading these monsters, right? So let's watch here, 66 buyer, 65 now. So I'm out of the penny by, out of the money by a penny, sorry. And so let's see what this one does. As I mentioned, 56 penny low on this. So there's a huge buyer here at 65. Okay, we're going to take it out there, and we're going to see if we can set up a little bit better. And I want to say closer to that 60 penny level so that we can kind of hold that higher low. If I'm gauging 57, 56 to be prior bar low, let's go ahead and set up somewhere there so we can get a bit of a better entry. So that's what I'm going to do, set up at 59. But that 65 buyer is still there, man. That's a thick buyer at 65. Okay. And is he adding to the position there? Because there's more size coming in at 65. Very flat line now. Yeah, that buyer at 65 is, okay, so there we go. We'll take that and we'll post it up into that level. That 65 buyer is going to get clipped though. Yeah, he got clipped. So this one's coming down. Let's see if it breaks prior bar low. Here it is. What did we get? We got 63 and we got 59. Right back into 64 we go. Let's see if we can post up a little bit higher. We did hold prior bar low. Prior bar low, as I mentioned, 56, moving back into the 60s, but this candle is kind of an engulfed red candle. Yeah, it feels like it's going to lose it here, Joey. But we would still be above the $0.50. I don't want to DCA, though, into the $0.50. Yeah, we're going to get out here. So we'll give back a little bit there. We'll give back a little bit there on that initial entry, but we'll make money on this dip trade. So ORKT, zigging, zagging, about to lose prior bar low. Let's go ahead and set up now at the $0.50 because we were pontificating about how there was a buyer in and around that $0.50. Let's go ahead and wait there, see if we can get something in and around that level. Maybe I got shaken out of that, but eh. Abhishek, yeah, he got clipped. Poor soul. This one as well, YCBD started its life south of $1, and it's trying its darndest right now to get it back above that. Let's give you this one over here. What I don't like is all these topping tail candles north of $1, which means the shorts are getting super aggressive with where they want to get in, or the profit takers. What's up?
No, I'm talking to myself.
Yeah, no worries. So that's kind of what I'm concerned about with YCBD over here, is that it keeps putting these umpteen amount of topping tail candles where I know sellers are stepping in. So that is that's definitely a bit of a headwind that I don't really want to be fighting, but. That's what I'm going to keep looking at, Joe. We're going to look at YCBD. We're going to look at ORKT. And as always, guys, if there are any other good small cap gappers I neglected to mention that are doing volume, that are above the volume weighted average price, that are above the pre-market high, I'd love to know about them.
All right, good stuff. I mean, I'm trying to get it onto the bigger screen for you guys. For some reason, I just can't change it. We'll take a little bit off there. Okay, so now we're starting to get a bit of a bounce. I thought we were going to get some waterfall type price action here in silver. We'll post up there and we'll main. I mean, you almost catch $2 as quick quick as you'd like from $88 down to 86. So we'll front run that a little bit on SLV, but a nice little move to the downside here in SLV. And there you go. You catch the fill just like that. Obviously, when the trade works like that, you're like, oh, I wish I had more size. I wish I had more size. But we're going to live with what we got right now. Took off 33% right there, guys, with a remaining of 66%. You must be printing money on. I wouldn't call it that. TSLL has definitely been my better trade on the day here. I told you guys I have 10% of the size, like literally 10% of the amount of size that I had here on TSLL that I do have on SLV, and it's continuing to just move lower, and it could get really aggressive to the downside. Like you break through that support level in which we were talking about, so that neckline snap. Same thing going on in the Nasdaq and here in the SPY. Neckline snap, bang, and moving to the downside here. So maybe you can run into $86, and who knows, even maybe 84 if things can get really, really ugly considering the run that we were just previously on. Let's go, Mr. Worldwide. Okay, yeah. Anyways, long to the side is like song rhyming. Okay, I don't know what that really means, my friend. But yeah, there it is. I mean, two for three today. Not going to complain about it whatsoever. It's been a solid start. The Nasdaq looked like it wants to continue southeast. Let's pull up our mags and see what we got going on over there, and see who's the weakest and what's really dragging us down. My bet is it's going to definitely head into the world of this name right here, and it starts with an N and ends with an A. Yes, you got it right here. Oh, it's not too bad, actually, right? Like, if it's holding up around 192, we pump into 194.50. That's not bad whatsoever. Okay, so we're performing pretty good. Who is it? Is it AAPL that's really weak? No. Could it be Microsoft? Or are we going to have to... Yeah, Microsoft is pretty weak down here, guys. But a nice indecision print on the 5-minute right off of those lows. How's my good friend CrowdStrike doing? Not too bad. Adara, what do you have for us?
What I have here are some comments from Fed's Myron. He said, and he comes out strong here, saying that apparently it was not difficult for him to dissent at the FOMC meeting. He says that he likes the pick of Warsh here. Warsh has a long history of being innovative, and he also assumes that Kevin Warsh will take his seat on the Fed board. That means Stephen Myron is assuming that he's not going to have that position renewed. Again, his time at the Fed does expire tomorrow, January 31st, 2026. He says that a lot of Warsh's views are quote-unquote right, and he thinks Warsh will be persuasive, also saying the Fed's projections could be modernized. So not a lot of great things about the Fed here from Fed Governor Myron. Last but not least, just adding now that apparently there are no inflation problems at the moment. Back to you.
Right on. What do you got going on there, brother?
Nothing. Just keeping an eye here on ORKT. It's kind of a no man's land. Feels like it might be rounding off that 170-ish rejection, dropping back down into the 150s. I'm looking for a dip trade into 150, but I'm not super convicted behind it because now we've got basically an unbroken lower high chain ever since that 1105 candle that made 177, then the 115 candle lower, 120 candle lower, 1125 I meant, lower than all of those. And now they're starting to put lower lows as well. So it could be a consolidative area on ORKT. So I'm not really sure how to feel about this one, but we'll certainly keep an eye on it. There's not really much else, guys. I do apologize. There's not much in the world of small cap gappers today. I see you guys talking about feed, but that's below the volume weighted average price. In fact, there was a clean rejection of the volume weighted average price. It's really ELPW. That's the other one. And this one, it's halting to no end, and that's not my style of trading. And I don't want to be forced into something that I'm not comfortable with. ELPW rocketing up. It's up 341%. Just got into the day high at 391. Does it breach prior area high? It does. That 1040 area was $1.90. That was the high. Now it's $1.91 halt time. So that one will be interesting to me. There we go. So we did get a dip trade now on ORKT into that volume weighted average price. It's going to have to hold here. Let's go ahead and put the L just below 140. So we're going to give it not much room at all. So there we go. Let's see if it holds up there or what the situation is. It loses at 140, I'm out. And that basically is the end of the trade right there. It lost it very, very quickly. So ORKT, unless it can get black above 148 or so, it's on Uncle Sheriff shit list now because it's below the volume weighted average price. And there's really nothing else, guys. Yeah, let me have a look at the scanner, see if there's anything moving up top over here. There is not. And there hasn't been all day. It's been a light bunch. With the IWM, maybe that's why. Worst off, 1.7% in negative territory. So maybe it's not the small cap per day. A lot of people making the case that Kevin Warsh has, some views on the Fed's balance sheet. He wants to make it fundamentally smaller. And that isn't really conducive to some of the more speculative assets. Included in that bag of speculative assets would be small caps. So I am kind of concerned that, the new Fed chair kind of puts a damper on how the smaller caps have been doing. A lot of people were blaming him as well for the sell-off in crypto, or his appointment for the sell-off in crypto, whether you kind of believe that or not. His statements are the data that we have to go by.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a little bit of a concern for me, at least, as a small cap trader. And seeing it at least locally on the day, seeing Bitcoin get clipped, seeing the metals get clipped, the IWM, the Russell 2000, by far the worst move, major average of the day, down 1 2/3. So there is that kind of, macro headwind possibly that we have to contend with if you're trading some of these speculative assets.
Good stuff. All right, yeah, so this is what we were looking at and talking about earlier. Your boy sliding a little bit of a spot here. Obi being in that first place, percentage change up a staggering 20% is Obi. So, yeah, I mean, he's running away with this one so far, but a lot of time left in the year. I'm positioned exactly where I want to be. We're only down about 3.65%. Small potatoes at that point. So Adara still holding on to some nice positivity there. Only 3 traders essentially remain sitting in that third place spot, up almost 0.0, almost 0.1% there, Sharif. So there it is. Not too bad. Sharif, you're not doing too bad either. You're only down about 0.7%. Fabian, he's up there as well too, guys. But the champions, the first and second place boys, sitting in last and second last there. Neil down a staggering 10%, Neil. But lots of time left in the year, obviously. A lot of fun with that stuff. But yeah, as for Tesla, guys, we're going to piece them out at 1790. We've just been rocking and rolling. Look how long we held this for. And I should have held it a little bit longer because I'm like, hey, if we break through this previous high of the day, and I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not going to classify it as a bad out, right? Like, if you're going to get that test and break of the high of the day, you may as well take a little bit of profit. And then this was about 20%, and then the rest were like 10% of the remaining, 10% of the remaining. So the pieces out get a little bit smaller. But this is where I took half of my remaining position off, and I'm going to break it down to you on the 5-minute on why exactly I did that. Was because of this, right? Like, the market wasn't doing too much overall. So we have this nice move. We break through that previous pivot high of around $430, in which I was referring to the supply zone there. And then we put that inverted hammer candle. And I'm like, oh no, I'm still holding a decent chunk of my position. Let's take a bit of it off. And once we crack to the downside, but considering it's really strong today, we blow past that signal and then we continue to climb. And it looks like the trajectory on Tesla right now is it wants to head right back into that 440 supply zone and potentially break that previous HOD. So, and this is what I was looking at as well from a daily perspective. It's just that this was an inside day where we open up, but we can break past that previous like wick high of 448, and then who knows where that next level could be. I think this is some big time news, and investors are kind of getting antsy on the fact, hey, if SpaceX does merge with Tesla, this could be massive, and you want to be in early and position yourself relatively well. So we'll head over to the options chain and see what we got going on Tesla, and look at that supply zone at that 440 mark to see if is it going to continue to grow? Is it slowly starting to dwindle, or what do we got going on? So we're now at 1779 there on TSLL, the 2x daily leverage. This has been working really, really good for us. 440 mark now at the money. You can see the volume drastically increasing here. Size coming in 95,100 contracts there with 16,600 still currently open. If we can break through, what is that next step? And that may not be even until 450 where we have the most amount of open interest sitting on today's expiration tree.
All right, I just want to show one thing, and then we're going to go to the big desk. AXTI was one that I had a trade on today successfully through 20, but it certainly had resistance at 20. And the reason I haven't worked back into it is it's still unbroken below this lower trend line, this lower high trend line. So I'm waiting for a decisive break of that because it does look quite good. It's got volume, it's up on the day, and it held VWAP, and it's trying to rocket back up now. I don't know if I'm going to wait for a clearing of 20. because that was a doji candle there, that reversal candle, or I'm just going to wait for a decisive clearing of this lower high trend line, maybe through 19 3/4 for a squeeze into 20. But AXTI, one I've had my eye on. ZSL as well, obviously an inverse leveraged. Is it leveraged? Yeah, 200%. Short silver at the day high, 221. Obviously not a small cap gapper, but we can trade it like one momentum wise. So I'll keep my eye on that because kind of the pickings are slim a little bit today. We're going to the big desk.
It's crypto time. I'm going to be pretty brief here with this crypto segment, but I do want to talk about the weekly on Bitcoin because we're poised for our second straight week of selling here on BTC, down 7.5% last week. As of today, down 4% this week. It is worth noting here too, we're coming into prior support just above that 81,000 level. That was, or sorry, I guess just above 80,000 rather. This came in on November 17th, that week of November 17th rather, of 2025. So again, we're at 83,000 right now. That 80,000-ish level of support certainly incoming. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum, again, continuing to look similar to BTC. Ethereum, though, that support we're coming into from the week of November 17th is going to be at 2,600. Before we send you back to the guys, I want to mention more comments from Fed's Myron, who, as we mentioned earlier, said there really wasn't an inflation problem. He said that he's not even worried about the stronger than expected or hotter than expected PPI print we got this morning because he says it probably didn't move the, quote, broader inflation reality and likely didn't impact PCE. Furthermore, also commenting here on tariffs, he does not see tariff inflation as a huge issue. Also, reportedly, this order that Trump's going to be signing today, executive order, is going to be on the IndyCar race in D.C., as reported by NBC. Back to you.
You always kill me, bro. Yeah. That computer likes you, Joe.
Yeah,
it treats you well. It treats Obi well. It treats everybody well. Yeah. Shout out to that computer.
I mean, I'm trying to get it up on my big screen for you guys, but it's not working for some reason.
Get it, Joe.
But we'll just show you guys right here on SLV. We take a little bit off there, just a little bit before 86, and then you get another dollar dump there in SLV. I'll take another 33% off. I mean, I told you I have minuscule shares on this, so it's nothing to write home about or anything along those lines. So we'll take some off. Let's see if we can catch that fill. Yeah, we did right there at 85.20. So a nice little short to the downside on SLV, and it looks like it wants to continue bleeding. $84 is going to be that next mark, and we'll call that a $4 ITM if we are fortunate enough to get that. So, Joe, will you ever go to my super chat? GTA. Okay, yeah, let's go. Sorry, brother. Hey, man, don't shoot the messenger there. Oops, that's live chat. We'll go over to. We don't want to show
ELPW is going to halt up again, guys. 481%.
All right, cool. Dumbo things. Sorry. Thoughts on picking Take-Two Interactive long term? They're making what's that game called? GTA, right? Are you gonna get PS5 for GTA, Sharif? Or
yeah, I'm gonna get PS5, bro. Yeah, how long? Come on, bro. No, man, I'm not.
I know. Yeah, I know, man. It's the ultimate video game. What do I think about it? Let's head over to the daily once again.
I wouldn't mind getting it if on the computer, though. I'm not gonna lie.
The
I have a nice computer.
I think you could probably get it for PC.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Right? Maybe get it for PC. There's a couple other super chats. Short all day. Did we go over all of these, Sharif? Dan the Man, the Myth, Zombie, Trader, or Zen Zombie, CT, or GCTS is dead in the water. Thank you, $2 for that one, our friend. Great team, great show. App down 11%. Any news? We'll get to that momentarily. Short all day. Warsh is considered super hawkish. Says B99 venture capitalist. I think VC says. Obviously, that may not what it means. Thoughts on picking up Take-Two long term with 2-day dip? Okay, so we went over this yesterday. This is ugly, right? Like, we don't want to complicate our lives any more than what it may be when you're trading. Wait until things start to turn around, right? You don't want to get involved and try to catch a falling knife here on Take-Two Interactive. That is an aggressive, and the volume's starting to pick up a little bit there. So keep an eye out on that. I wouldn't be grabbing any just yet. Even though there is blood in the streets, if you do want to grab some, slowly allocate it, like 5% here, 5% there, until you get into your full position, Sharif.
All right, brother. AXTI, I don't know if it's exactly breaking trend. It's got a good looking chart right now off the volume weighted average price and off that 19. It's broken through my trend line, but it's certainly not above prior area high. That would make it, that would require a 20 break. So we're going to give this one the old college try. We're going to give it a little bit of room. AXTI is the one I'm talking about, up 20%. I've had successful trades on this. My last trade on it, like before the one that I just got into right now, was a break-even trade. I didn't make or lose any money. We're in at 67. It's showing me 73s. I'm looking for continuation into the 80s. Let's see what this one has to offer. It's a 3-penny spread and not looking all that bad. But I also wanted to mention ZSL. So I did talk about this one very briefly. It's it's not really down my alley, but it's trading well today. So I can try to gauge the technicals here and see kind of what this one has been respecting in terms of chart pattern, indicators, etc. It does seem to be putting in those higher lows, so you can certainly try to pick it up off an area low. But I'm gunning now for that 215. Yeah, I want to say like, 2 mid-teens to 2 high teens because the 10 EMA is at 17, 18. The reason I say that is because look at that pre-market high early on at 4 a.m. and then again right at 9 o'clock, 8:55. That 215 level was a hard level of break. Now last we took it out recently here into 225. It's up 41.6%. So in case you don't know what this is, it's an inverse silver ETF. It's leveraged, so it's 2 times 200% the daily move of the actual silver. I'm not sure which one it's pegged to, but so I'm going to try to put a dip trade here for 215, maybe a little bit higher than that. Keeping an eye here on AXTI, doesn't seem to be running up. And now kind of coming back down into the mid-60s. It's got a topping tail candle, mind you, the one that closed at 1135 into 75. So I'm not going to allow this to go against me all that much. So we're going to give it to prior bar low. Prior bar low takes us to 53. So let's go ahead and put that stop in now. Now, if it's at 53, you might as well give it to south of the $0.50, right? Because if there's going to be a buyer at the $0.50, well, then you want to take advantage of them stepping in there. So let's see. I'm going to do that. I put it at 49, and then we're going to kind of wait a little bit higher into the mid-90s here. Nice bounce back up into the low 70s, but the spread now opening up to 13 pennies, and that is likely a product of the lack of volume. The volume has been dropping off. It has been a lower high kind of pattern on the volume bars. So that does concern me as well. Moving back now to ZSL, I'm going to go ahead and put the dip trade exactly where I said I'm going to put it towards the higher end. Let's go ahead 17 and see if we can get something in and around there for a dip trade off that key area of 15 resistance. Let's see if it now acts as support. We have about, I think, maybe... What time is this? Oh, there we go. About a 5 to 6 minute consolidation here above that 22 penny area. There has been a buyer for whatever reason stepping in at 22s, and they've been doing that essentially since 11:35. So there's a buyer here at 22. You can see that reflected on the price action, but it's not exactly rocketing up through 25 either. Very thickly traded, as you can see. Like there's a zillion. Look at Joey. Look at this. Have you seen something like this? Look at the size of these lots. Those are lots. That's not size. I'm pretty sure I have it as lots because like
Bro,
everything else is
go
lots,
back.
right? Yeah.
What is this movement? I've never seen that before.
Don't disrespect my VWAP.
I'm not disrespecting. I'm just saying I've never seen it. I've never seen it like that.
My VWAP doesn't have feelings. No, I'm kidding. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. Threw in the dip trade. All right, back to AXTI. Popping right back up into that $0.75. It's an unbroken green candle setup since 11:10. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're on the 7th green candle in a row. I perceive us to have broken above the downtrend, but you never really know how these things are going to act. That is just a line that I drew, but it's been quite accurate as of late. Let's see if we can get through that $0.75, not immediately apparent if we can. YCBD is taking out highs. It's into that 107, 111. It's breaking out. Be careful with this one. This is an MX stock, so it can rip your face off. New high a day on YCBD into 111. Is there continuation? We're going to give it a try here, Joey. Let's see if we can kind of pop off, maybe into 17s, something like that. There we go. We got 11s, showing me 13 now. 14, 15. Let's see if we can get a little bit higher now. Come on. Let's see. Come on, YCBD. Where's the buying at? Seller at 14. Back into 15 we go. We'll take the print there. Cancel the 17. 16s now. We're looking at 19s. And we're looking at 25s. Watch out for the drop, though. There could be a buyer at 6s and 7s. Because can you know that like that was a British expression before it was like
What is?
Like to say you're at sixes and sevens or you're sixes, it means you were up, like you were screwed up. Yeah, it's like if you say the defense was in sixes and sevens, it means they know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
So it was like an English expression way before we started using it.
You know, it's completely off topic, but like one of my favorite English comedy shows, People Just Do Nothing, came out with a movie. Oh man, I just think it's absolutely hilarious. Shout out to everyone in the UK. People Just Do Nothing, the absolute funniest show on the planet.
I've never heard of it.
Dude, these guys have this nothing radio station called Corrupt FM, and they have like, it's like they have like 2 songs, man, and they just play it all day essentially. Yeah, it's absolutely.
I love it.
Corrupt FM, the best radio station.
All right, wait, hold on. 121 high now on YCBD, dipping down now into 114 and change. The best print, we've got 20s. I'm waiting at 19s, waiting at 22, then 27. Looking for a hold though. I'm gauging here 107 to about 111. Reason is the closing prints on the 1050, the 1055, and 11 candle, either the closing or the opening prints, all at 106. It does topping till though into 110, so it's a zone for me. I'm looking for that dip trade to come in. I'll probably put in, I'm gonna go ahead and put that. Let's just go towards the higher end of the range. Let's go 109s, see if we can pick up something in and around there. How's my trade on AXTI doing? Well, it's not printing because that seller at 75 that we can't shake. So AXTI, a little bit tough here. It does feel like it got above the prior trend high, but it's not really finding buyers, and that staunchy seller at 65 is keeping us down. So that is a bit of a problem for me. Joey, what do you got?
All right, guys. Whenever we're ready there, Assassino will fire it up. Feed, here's a medical device company to keep an eye on. NView Medical, ticker Feed. The company designs and markets a guided feeding tube platform to hospitals across the U.S. today. The majority of hospitals do the procedure blindly, leading to unavoidable injuries from misplacements. Think of this platform as a GPS for feeding tube placement, which can improve patient safety and streamline how care teams work. What stands out to me is the growing appetite for this platform through U.S. hospitals and how their tech fits right into clinical needs. Today, there are already in 38 hospitals. As hospitals push for safer, more efficient solutions, NView looks like a company building scalable technology with real-world demand behind it. Definitely one to watch. All right, is it my turn here? All right, let's go over and see what we got going on. Hey, listen, I'm thinking we're going to continue to move lower in SLV. I know someone said get out. Hey, relax, Will. Relax, Will. So, yeah, there it is. I mean, you're down to, wow, 20%. 20% in SLV, so this one has not been good for the longs or people still holding on to some silver because this pullback has been absolutely insane. And the same thing with gold as well. This is what I was looking at Los Polos. You're like, hey, that's it. It's done for physical gold. Digital gold starting to put in an inverted hammer candle right off of these key support levels. So not too bad of a look there. I like that idea that we got going on with Bitcoin. A nice sustained bounce would be ideal here. But let's head over to GLD's daily. Ouch, ouch, yope, me mama. That is not fun. You're down 10%. Nothing crazy, but silver taking a much larger hit here, guys, with a high of approximately around $110, now trading around $84. That's a 22% pullback in the span of 2 days. That's not fun. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter what you're holding, where you're holding it from. Just that elimination and that destroyer of essentially your funds is not too good to be involved in. But, I mean, aside from that, guys, you got to take into consideration it doesn't matter what it is or how strong it is. I'm going to stand by this. And what I've learned for quite some time, I mean, my trading tenure, is that eventually things will start to come back in. And where do I usually refer to? And that's going back towards Microsoft. This was all fun and games until it wasn't, right? Like, you know how when you're horsing around with your siblings and it's like, oh, it's all fun until somebody gets hurt. Well, here it is, bang, people are starting to get hurt right now, Sharif. So this was all fun and stuff, but it can come to an abrupt end really quick, and then people start crying and they're like, oh, what's going on with this and with that? And then I'm going to lead to the next name. No, regardless of how strong it is, like, I mean, enjoy the ride, right? You do that, but just be prepared and don't get overly greedy. You know, I think they say what bears and bulls can both obviously feed and make money, but it's the hogs and the pigs that get slaughtered. So just be prepared. We're up 139% in a mega cap name from those April lows. We're going to use that April 7th benchmark, and then sure enough, anything can happen. We're going to be reporting on Google's soon, so keep an eye out on this one. I'm not saying it's going to tank, but be prepared to take a little bit of a profit just in case you do get an additional gap up here.
All right, got the ad at 109 on YCBD, scalped up into 15s and almost got 18s, didn't quite cross. This candle is a candle of indecision. It's higher lows and lower highs. High of this candle, I believe, is 16s. The low, I believe, is 8s or 7s. Can't tell because the mouse over is not working, but that's fine. Looking for a hold, though, of, as I mentioned, that range that we spoke about, 111 to 106, 107, 106. That's kind of the range that I perceive to be initial area of resistance between 1050 to 11 o'clock. So I'm looking for this area to hold generally, but we are getting some lower highs on the 1, but the 5 is still setting up okay. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on there. I didn't get my dip trade on ZSL, and now it's really going without me into 227. Very thickly traded, but still a great looking chart pattern on ZSL. And I also want to mention APRE. Shout out to, I want to give them their credit. JL822 mentioning APRE. This one's up almost 67%. Nasdaq, let's find out. Yes, it is. South of $1. Trying to work its way above the dollar right now. It's been above. It's gotten into 106, I believe. That's the high of the day. Dilly-dallying right now at 98 pennies, but it is accumulating for a dollar break, at least on the 1. This looks like a bull flag here breaking out right around 1126. So if that's going to be the case, well, then we want to set up something over here. Now, let me give you some technicals. High a day, I mentioned 106. Prior bar high, 102. Prior bar low, 93 pennies. Volume weighted average price, 93 pennies as well. I would base my out at 93 pennies. If it loses VWAP, which it hasn't, I'd get out. Let's see if we can pick it up maybe at around 95 for a possible break. I'm just going to go, I'm going to give it a little bit above 95. Let's go 95.5. Let's see if we can pick it up in and around there. And then if it loses that 93 penny area, which is the volume weighted average price, we're out. So I'm going to keep an eye out on that. How's YCBD doing? Okay, so popped up into 15s, but still not doing anything. And this current candle, which opened right now, 1150, still has higher lows, but also lower highs. So no decision as to kind of how this is going to act at the moment. Packing the patience. Also, Bovin was mentioning RPGL. I did have that one on watch already. Bovin, shout out to you for calling it out. It's been a multi-day runner, as you can see. When it makes intraday highs, it's very aggressive to pull back, sometimes losing key areas of technical support. Case in point, that 310 move into what was at the high of the day into 140, and then it lost it into 57 pennies before going back into 190 in the aftermarket. So very up and down swings, and then you got more of that this morning as well. So this seems to be characteristic for RPGL, but it is kind of taken out into that 150 high. It's got a 170 technical high, but the pre-market high, you need to keep your eye on that as well. It's 208. So I was telling Bovin, 1 second, into 170. If it takes out 170, I'm definitely looking for a squeeze into 2. What's up?
Yeah, silver, man. This is like we're all out of silver at $84 right there, and I mean this thing is continuing to bleed. Shreve, I don't want to interrupt you, but 21% now on silver to the down. 21, yeah, 20 straight. Hey, I mean, hey, man, you know what 21 represents? That's exactly what we got over here. A whole lot of red. Shout out to Playboy Cardi as well too. There. I know you like that one. 83.20, and it's looking to continue to move a little bit more. 22% incoming on. So shout out to 22 Savage, the other guy of that team, even though he's not. But yeah, I mean, it's not looking too good in silver here, Sharif. And that's what I was talking about earlier, guys, is just that the waterfall type price action, right? You just got to be careful with this stuff. I'm not saying that you won't get somewhat of a rebound, 22%, maybe a little bit overdone. And probably if you're looking at your RSI or something along those lines from an intraday standpoint, you're going to say we're oversold right now. But yeah, it's getting really, really ugly here in silver as you're down to $83, brother. Sorry.
All right, no worries, man. We got right back into we added into YCBD, dipped in, perfectly into the volume weighted average price. I was lucky to catch that. Added into 111, looking for now a high day break. There it goes into the high of the day of 123. We get the print there, but we're still waiting north of 25. I believe we're waiting at 27s. Let's watch to see if there's going to be a nice kind of tailwind here into 24 as we go. That's another high a day, looking for continuation. 25s now just showed up momentarily, waiting at 27s. Happy I was able to get more shares into this one, and we'll have many more outs should this one take out area high. Huge seller at 24. Can't shake the seller at 24. 25's now showing up. Can we get a little bit higher? Let's see now. 25 seller. Can we see some 26s here on the ask on the level 2? Not quite yet, but we are taking out size. 26 is showing up. Can we see some 27s? We're going to wet the beak here. Move up the order from 27 into 29. We're going to leave that other order that was at 33. We're going to move it up to 35. Good strength here on YCBD. Very parabolic into the high of the day and a clean hold of the volume weighted average price. 27s now. A little bit higher. No, seller coming in, dipping into 21. Be ready for the retracement on this one. Let me give you technicals. Current bar low, 105. Current bar high day, 127. Prior bar low. None of the mouse overs are working. Why does this happen? Prior bar low, I should say, 108. Prior bar high, 116. Keep your eye out on that one. Definitely interested in getting a little bit more to see if this one has the juice kind of maybe to make it into that 150. So
Dude.
good. What's up?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just talking to myself, man.
All right, so looking for that move possibly into that 1.5, but obviously we're looking for beak wetters along the way. We're going to wait next at that 1 1/3. Scott Tomlinson, are you okay if I make a shirt that says habitual beak wetter? I would actually
Send it in.
Yeah, I'll wear that on the show, man. Absolutely. I'm going to make that myself. Thank you.
Man.
There's
There's a t-shirt printing shop literally right around
I
the
know.
corner. Right
I've
around the corner.
visited it before.
Like, Darius, dude, what are you talking about? I'm like, how much is that contract?
Get it, Joey.
Yeah, and he's like, about 5 days of lunch. But what do you get? I don't know where you're from, my boy Darius, but we ain't getting much for 5 days for $1.25 around here. You're lucky to get a coffee. That thing's $6. 5 days of 5 days of lunch, brother. What? No, obviously, I mean, rock and roll, man. That thing's gonna cost you nothing. If you think that we're gonna slide past that zone, then by all means, look to get involved on that. But Tesla's starting to come back in here. So this is a lottery ticket, right? 0 DT. The chance of it expiring worthless are pretty high. So yeah, take a look at it. If you want to have that put, then by all means, it's not gonna cost you much. $6 if that's what that is there. Yeah, nice little bounce in silver. There's some signals, some bottoming signals here, guys. Look at this on the volume. Even on the lower time frame here, so VPA really starting to come into play. You have that isolated volume print hammer candle right at the extreme low after sliding 22%, and then now you're starting to get somewhat of a bounce. You can see that Tesla's heading towards a neckline as well, but SoFi continuing to bleed there, so not too good of a look. I was thinking about putting a short in the Nasdaq, but I'm like, what am I doing? I was talking to, I think it was somebody in the chat. Was it MF? I think it was MF Dangerous in the chat. I'm like, it's just like, for me, I'm not trading it very well. And then where we're positioned on the Qs, I just don't think it's the time, really, from an intraday standpoint. Unless you're really comfortable with playing this chop, selling the highs, buying the lows, or whatever you may be doing, and just chilling, or just trading this consolidation. If we head over to the daily, you can see what I'm getting at here. And that's why I'm saying this is Condor land. I would love to have a question and talk to Brent there and see what he's thinking about what the overall market is. Is it credit time? Is it net credit time? Or what we got going on here with some of these names. Now, this is the Nasdaq. We've just been trading within this range for quite some time. You can go back to October and we're still within it. So that's why I'm saying Condor World, Iron, Condor World. And then sure enough, there it is. You can base that spread. And as long as you stay within that in a span of X amount of days, however you long to right, then you can start making some cash on that. But I do believe that we're going to head a little bit to the downside here in the Nasdaq. So we'll wait for a pullback, maybe look to get involved with it. It's been a pretty good day so far. I mean, we're nicely green. We had that trade on SLV. We're all out of that one here. 33% all out right there, from $88 to $84. And then sure enough, we have the Tesla, where we had the most majority of our position here, from 1673 all the way to a high of around 1781. So you catch a little bit more than $1 on TSLL, which isn't bad whatsoever.
YCBD into a new high day, 128, 129. Let's see if it can pop up. There's the fill at 129. We're waiting out 135 next, guys. Great strength on this one, continuing to hold higher highs and higher lows, now up about 65%. Great look on YCBD. I was trying to find you forced liquidations on silver because everybody's yelling margin calls probably for silver longs. So I was trying to get you that data, but I'll give it to you in a second. 131 now on YCBD. Another high day. 32 showing up momentarily. Let's see. Looks like the seller at 32 or at 31 just got rocked. We did move up to 32. That's the high of the day. Profit taking though, and or short selling into this level. Current bar low. Let's see if the mouse over works. Why would the mouse over work, Joey? 116. Prior bar low 105. Dipping back down now into 122. So we're 10 pennies off the high. Volume weighted average price 112. 10 EMA on the 5 108. I still like that prior area that we spoke about from 106 into 110, 111, because that is a prior area of resistance. And to me, it's acting as a level of support. And I'm going to continue to trade it that way until it's not. ELPW is open. It's up again in the 352. It's up 648%. It looked like it was going to down halt. It faked it right back up into the up halt now parameter, 718%. 352. This thing is crazy, man. Yo, when they come like that TCBD thing, and there's a quadruple digit winner, isn't it funny how the next day there's also one that kind of keeps the ball rolling with that kind of crazy ass momentum, and this is the one that I'm talking about right now, ELPW. It's only done 7.3 million shares on the day, but it's up. 718%. So keep your eye out on this one. If this is your cup of tea, I was talking to Tisha in the chat. It's just, this is not my my style of trading. I mean, if I was sitting at home and I could just sit in a position, put in stops, put a limit on or a market on open order and just walk away and let it kind of do its thing, maybe, but I'm not going to be doing this one when I got to do a show. So we'll leave that one to be, and we'll focus on YCBD. Bovin, RPGL is starting to curl here. Where is that RPGL? Screen. Oh, I don't have one. We'll take off AXTI. We'll put RPGL. This one is starting to curl, and it's looking a lot better. And now, I think it's only 2 or 3 pennies off the day high, the official day high, which is 170. But I really want to bring your attention to that pre-market high, which goes into 208. That was the 810 candle on the 5-minute chart. Be on the lookout for bag holders, and that was on volume, mind you. That 8:10 a.m. candle had about 2.1 million shares of volume. Just to give you a by way of comparison, prior bar on RPGL on the 5 has 238,000 shares. So plenty of volume was exchanging hands here in the pre-market. Into 166 now. 167 it goes. So RPGL Bovin could be on the move up here. We're going to keep an eye out on this one. And I think if it clears 170, it's going to have a trader in me. But it's got to clear it, quite decisively so that I can kind of use that 170 to 160 area as my area of support. We'll have to see what RPGL does when we get back from Happening Now and Neil's Lesson of the Day.
This market does not want 694 at least, not now. A couple rejections of this level. Now we're coming into not only intraday lows, but that pre-market level we used as support at 8:30 a.m. on the PPI number. Now we're actually going to talk about the PPI number here because that was coming out here hotter than expected across the board. This infographic not yet released on X at TTV Research, but just previewing it for you guys. Sorry, we did get harder than expected. Core and non-core month-over-month and year-over-year producer price indices prints or index prints, though it is worth noting that Fed's Myron has already said that he's not concerned this will actually impact the PCE readings. So take that how you will. I'm also just now seeing comments coming from the CEO of SoFi, Anthony Noto, saying that the company is, quote, uniquely positioned to benefit from crypto. Also, Trump apparently signing executive orders live, so lots happening right now. I believe that's the IndyCar executive order, but I'll be watching that. A couple other things to mention before we head over to Neil's lesson of the day. Eli Lilly is, as we saw that market really weak, Eli Lilly, the exact opposite here, stronger, announcing that $3.5 billion facility in Pennsylvania to produce the injectable GLP drug that apparently is going to go into production, or the facility rather, this year. But what's not strong here, I'll go back to that in a second, is SanDisk. SNDK languishing here below that 600 level and near intraday lows after the earnings report. Now, a lot of this is being attributed to likely profit taking. We are down roughly $90 now from the intraday high just today. But again, better than expected earnings across the board here for this quarter, and operating income and net income growing by 505 and 617% respectively. So massive look there for SNDK. Earnings great. Right now the stock not doing so well, though. Again, kind of hard to say it's doing badly when it's still up 10%. Before we go over to the rest of the day, I just want to make sure, subscribe if you enjoy the content. Always let us know what you want to see and hear from this show and from our social media accounts. If you have any ideas, always for X at TTV Research, tag us right there. One of the benefits of this show in the chat. But another benefit is Neil and his lessons. So you get some Neilage right now. Neil, what lesson do you have for everyone watching?
Well, Dara, I'm going to do things a little bit differently this time, but it starts with, if you were watching the aftermarket show last night, which you all should be, I mean, come on, SNDK earnings, Apple earnings live, Western Digital, you had Deckers, which was going crazy. All four of us were there, myself, Sean Brendan, and Dara at the desk with the spin around. It's a great look, it's great information. But there was a quote that got made. And it actually caused me to react, because it was something that I feel pretty strongly about. But I want to start by doing this. I'm going to tell you I'm going to say the quote, and here's what I want everyone to do. Hop into the chat, and if you agree with this quote, I want you to type 1. And if you disagree with this quote, type 2. If you have no strong feelings about it, feel free to abstain. You don't have to have an opinion on this. So here's the quote. A scared trader is a deficient trader. I'm going to wait for people to opine. I know that YouTube has a little bit of I don't know, sometimes it's 3-second delay, 5-second delay, 10-second delay. So I'm going to let it trickle in here, because I have a strong suspicion as ELPD comes in that it's more mixed than I thought. Now, I thought, 1, absolutely 1, only a few 2s in here over and over and over again. And so here it comes. Now I was expecting about 80 to 90% on the 1 saying they agree. And I think it's fair to ballpark it. Maybe it's like 75 to 80%. So it sounds really good, doesn't it? A scared trader is a deficient trader. Now, what is risk-taking in a general sense, right? What's the downside when you lose money in a trade? Losing a lot of money, blowing up an account, that's pretty bad, right? Is it as bad as, I don't know, losing your life? Of course it's not, right? So let's ask a question. I'm sure most people here, a lot of people might know somebody who maybe they're a police officer, maybe they're a firefighter, maybe they serve their country. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I'm one of those people. I had a cousin who was in the Navy, the Canadian Navy, and flew for the Navy, and then he then flew helicopters for the police department where he is in Canada, at least until he retired. And if you've ever talked to one of those people, or discussed with somebody when they run into a burning building or run towards something crazy, have you ever heard one of them say that they're not afraid? You ever heard them say, oh no, I wasn't afraid when I did that? Or is it literally the opposite, where they tell you, of course I was. Oh, I don't trust anybody that isn't afraid in a situation like that. I don't trust the guy who's going to tell me they're not afraid to go run into fire or run into a dangerous situation. Yeah, there's a reason people who risk their lives don't do that, because it's kind of nonsensical when you think about it. Human beings have been wired and built with certain reactions which have literally saved us and allowed us to survive. And one of them is fear. Now, what you find among people like that who do that for a living, and it's not the same as trading because they're actually risking something a little bit more, is it's how they react to fear. It's the fact that if you're an elite soldier, they train and are driven to be perfect, to trust the orders, to follow the person next to you and trust that that is going to allow them to overcome. And that's how you get past it. You overcompensate for that by being obscenely prepared, absurdly ready, absurdly focused. That's what that level of fear gets you. Now, you might have that weird thing in your brain where you don't feel fear at all. That's what percentage of the population. It's some infinitesimal number, whatever it might be. That could be a different story. That's not anybody we're talking to. But if we're talking about a regular person, you want it to sharpen you. Because if you are not, let's just imagine, let's put it back to trading for a split second. If you're not afraid of blowing up your account, or if you're not afraid of losing money, that can make you very reckless. A person who's afraid to lose their account but is driven to trade is going to be somebody who does things to not blow up their account and takes actions to not have that happen for them. Simply not being afraid of the downside. And the weird thing about it is it came up with a discussion about SNDK. There's a difference between saying I'm not going to short it because I'm afraid, or you should be afraid to short the stock. I short stocks all the time. But there are certain ones like ELPW, I've traded stuff like this before. And when it came down to it, this is a scary thing for a day trader. And the problem with this one for myself, why I don't try these anymore, is couldn't figure out something that made sense risk-wise to make these kinds of things work. But in other strategies, that's not the case. So you prepare yourself so that you are in a situation when you are faced with a trade that can blow you out, or that is dangerous, or that could lose a lot of money. Your level of preparation has gotten you past that level of fear. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what we do in life every single day. We set ourselves up in a situation, the world sucks, there's danger all over the place. We set ourselves up in a situation that we are prepared to face it every single day. But do I tell myself that when I get into a car, there's literally nothing to be afraid of? What am I even talking about? Have you seen drivers in Toronto? You better believe there's something to be afraid of. It doesn't cripple you. We still do it every single day. Why? But I'm a good driver. That's why I ain't got nothing to worry about. So again, I have nothing against anybody that believes that's a good saying. It's a good catchphrase. I hear rappers say it all the time too. No scared money, don't make no money. Yeah, that's great. I don't care. And I hope you don't care about sayings either. What should matter to you is that you understand that a regular human being that blows up an account is going to be afraid to do so. And it has nothing to do with whether you get that feeling or not. You're a human, you will get it. Your level of preparation, your ability to actually find a trade and a strategy and then execute that strategy is what allows you to overcome it. When I look at traders, like we had a conversation about this morning, the biggest trader yesterday put on, 140K at Real Trading in a silver trade. I will tell you this right now. I've seen a dude who sat next to me, his name's Arun. I'm just being straight. It would be in trades kind of like that, and you wouldn't even know brother's in it. Why? Because he's not afraid? I know, trust, this is like a brother, man. I know this dude. Not because he's not afraid, but he's just so insanely prepared and has his strategy that that's not gonna faze him because he's just executing a strategy, and that's what it's all about. You better believe he doesn't want to lose money. I told you, like, he does really smart things to make sure he doesn't blow up his account. So again, I know it's a bit of a long-winded lesson, and I'm not going over charts or anything like that. Sometimes it is about the charts today, and I was thinking about this on the way home. I have to have this discussion because you know what? This show, Trader TV Live, has always been about the community. It's always been about the fact that we would exist on a trading floor talking to other traders all the time and giving other people the benefit of that knowledge and what that community is all about. And one of the things that's really important is a quote that I love to repeat over and over again. If you care about somebody, then you will tell them what you really think. If you care about yourself, you will tell them what they want to hear. It makes you more money to tell people what they want to hear. And telling people what you think, whether they agree or not, at a bare minimum allows them to think about something which is important. So hopefully, whether you agree with that quote or not, you're at least thinking about it, and maybe it helps your risk approach going forward. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to see people lose money. I dislike it. I seriously, I really do. I hope everyone can make money, but I know that most people don't in a reality of trading. So good luck, everybody. If you happen to be trading ELPW, Godspeed. Like I said, if you short this thing, you better be afraid of that nonsense. I don't care what anybody says. Go get it. I haven't had the tilapia yet. I would tell you guys how it is, but I haven't even opened it. So. But for the record, I have a bad feeling about it to this time. It was good the last time. I'm not sure this time.
I don't know. I get tilapia gets a bad rap on the show, and I respect everybody's opinions, especially yours and Neil's and everybody's. But I kind of like it, bro. I told you on the show yesterday I can be pescatarian, easy peasy,
Dude,
lemon squeezy.
I mean, what, we all supposed to like the same thing?
No,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
absolutely not.
So.
There goes ZSL, your boy Joey Options is silver. I'm in silver.
I'm out of
Oh,
silver.
my bad.
I was out at 84. We're down to 82.30s there on silver.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I know you were shorting SLV. I'm taking ZSL long, which is the inverse leveraged ETF for silver. We're doing it live. We're taking prints over here. What do we got? 24s. It's showing me 34s. I'm waiting next at 35. Let's see what this one has to offer. It is into the high of the day. Currently, as we speak, there is 34. Let's wet the beak. No, I'm not going to wet the beak here. Let's go ahead and wait a little bit higher and see what we can get at 35. Then I'm going to wait at 39 as well. Seller at 34. It's a thick trade anywhere you look, and that's kind of normal given the share size and the volume. This thing's done almost 500 million shares on the day. We are a little bit below that, 493,000. So keep your eye out on this one. I'm looking for continuation. Obviously not a small cap gapper, but as I made very clear today, the small cap gapper is just not doing well today. And the IWM is absolutely getting clipped. It's down almost 2%, 1.84%. By the way, gold, 9.15% in the Ville of Red. Silver, SLV, down 22%. Where's crap coin over here? Let's see. Down 1 3/4, but crap coin's already been getting clipped. So, yeah, probably maybe more downside there. I didn't add, by the way, into IBIT yesterday. Yeah. I added into a couple of positions yesterday at night on Blue Ocean.
Okay.
By the way, excellent spreads on Blue Ocean. I got no beef with that at all.
It's great.
Especially if you're buying a stock that's a couple of $100. You're talking about 15, 20 penny spreads.
I'm not going to complain
That's a
about
joke.
that.
That's a joke.
And the transaction fees too, nada, pretty much.
Nada. Why? You know you have options with our platform about what kind of fee structure you get,
it's
right?
tiered.
You know
it's tiered. Yeah. You have essentially.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the look there. So I did do some adding yesterday, strategic adding. We'll see, kind of how they pan out. But yeah. Well,
sorry to interrupt you, but TD is garbage. Like my long term is in TD. It's so hot trash.
But if you're buying ETFs, so like what I do is when I get paid with this job,
you just buy a little bit
right away.
Yeah.
So all your TD app,
you with TD,
your savings account, your checking, all your investment accounts, your credit cards, everything's consolidated into one app, right? So I literally just transfer the money
into your
investment, and then I buy.
Yeah,
Who cares?
But but see, the thing is, though, Sharif, you can't. There's no overnight, right? Like you don't get any in the pre or the post market. There's none of that.
No.
And $11 tickets. Like, come on, brother.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, yeah.
But it's long term. You're not like you may. But even so, over time, it adds up. You know what I mean?
100%. You're not wrong. And in addition to the fees that you're paying on the Qs, on the SPY, whatever the hell you're buying. Can I say one thing though?
Yeah.
So do you have a strategy how to add ETFs? Do you wait for like the first red day? So I'm talking about like long term because there's.
I don't own any ETFs.
You don't buy Qs?
I'm straight equity, man.
You're straight equity. So what I was talking to some people about is because like that's kind of my thing now.
IBIT, I guess.
I don't even mean those ETFs. I just kind of mean index ETFs. Exactly. So I was like, I'd like to hear some people's opinions in the chat. Like, do you guys, for your long-term accounts, to build up the portfolio, do you guys have a strategy about where you buy the Qs or the SPY? Are you waiting for like the first red day on the week, or are you waiting perhaps for a certain percentage down in order to buy? Like, I'm assuming a lot of people don't want to buy on green days because they don't want to buy when it's expensive. I'd love to hear your specific strategy for your long-term account at how to buy the index and what you guys do. Is there an employable kind of quantifiable strategy that you can explain to me? I'd love to hear it.
Dude, I think in my opinion, like if I were to go that route, it's just like paid buy. It doesn't even really matter. Like just keep buying.
I want to have some sort of strategy.
You want to have it? That would be my strategy. Is just who cares? Punch and pray. I think like, at the end of the day. I mean, over a span, like look at the history of things, right? Like at 10 years, are you gonna really look back and be like, oh man,
you just finished telling me $11 right now. You're complaining about $11 buy. It's gonna add over time. I mean, if I'm buying at $3.50 a share,
that's position.
rather than $3.20 a share,
You're gonna be like back in like 2015. You're gonna be, or like 10 years from now, 2035, and be like, oh man, I'm pissed that I didn't get that 30 cents better.
Not 30 cents, my boy. I'm talking about dollars here. Like, you know what the Qs move. Where are the Qs at? They're $622.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like, all right, so let's just take a quick look. Let's do it live. Let's bring in, I see the tags. I really want to get to them in a second, but let's just take a look at what the range on the Qs has been this week. This is the monthly, sorry, so let's flip to the daily. Let's flip to the 30-minute to kind of get, okay, Joe, like if I had bought on the 21st, 605, and then it got to 637. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a big difference. Yeah, that's a big difference.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like, you wait on the first red day, right? So that's kind of what I mean by that. I'm not trying to nickel and dime the portfolio. I'm trying to be strategic. Mr. Loveshack, I wait until the implied volatility rank is 25 or higher. That's kind of the strategy that I want to hear. That's excellent. Thank you for telling me that. I'm going to take a picture of that, and then I'm going to have a look to see if it fits it within my own kind of strategy. Buy at every 10% dips, basically, says 3 others. I love that as well. Another tactical approach. No strategy ever, says Charlie Taff. I love it. Busted says, if I have cash in the reserves, I buy when there's a big pullback. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And add to the positions I already own. Like to hear that. Deutsch says, I dollar cost average, make it simple. Fair. Simple sometimes the best option, as Joey Options was trying to make that point a second ago. Let's see what else you guys said there. Palantir, all right, I'm not kind of looking at that at the moment. I buy, sell on Friday. And shout out to James Dell. I was actually talking to Brendo about this. I buy, sell on Friday, end of day, market order for the long-term account, no motion. So I'm assuming you're just putting a market on close order, a mock, right? Or whatever other kind of strategy you're doing. Shout out to Carlos Lopez. Every Friday, I buy BTS no matter what the price is, okay? Carolina, I buy 10 US dollars every day, and in red days, I buy 100 US dollars. See, this is the kind of strategies I don't want to hear, man. All these different kind of looks at it. And you know, you get a little bit from here, you get a little bit from there, and then all of a sudden you've got your own strategy. I'm just looking over here to see what else. Happy all the time. I only sell my index holdings when a death cross happens. I like that, but that's not kind of what I'm asking, but that's actually sound. When it dips to the 50 EMA, says Kai Soren. I like these, man. These are all sound, different strategies. Shout out to D Westermeyer, baby. Sharif, Warren Buffett strategy. Would I hold 10 years, just buy then, double position if down 10%? Yeah, I do like that. A specific percentage down, that's kind of what I was thinking. You know, the Qs end up closing like 1% down, 1 1/3, something like that. You hit the buy button and you do it without emotion. But the question is, do you put like a mock, or do you put midday, or you know, a moo or market on open, whatever. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at here, Joe, because that's going to be the
that's the game plan.
That's the game plan moving forward. Like I feel I'm going to add into the equities,
but
not nearly with the same aggression that I'm going to be buying these.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a little less stressful, to be honest with you, than owning flat out equity.
And you want to know why?
Why is that?
You want to show them?
Show them.
Should we show them?
Show them, man.
I think we're going to show them.
Zoom out.
We're going to show them.
Go. What are you good?
Hold on. It's going to embarrass me. Yeah. This is it. This is the Qs. Okay, from the GFC 2007. And now we're up 1,200%, man, and that's not even including the dividends that you roll back into the position. So this is it,
dude,
right?
Let me say this.
So if you're not doing this, Joe, for your retirement,
what are you doing?
Doing?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be real estate.
No.
You're not getting 1,200%.
Like, listen. I think one of the smartest things, and I don't think that it's talked about enough, is that the $1,000 plan for, what is it, every born child now is getting $1,000. You know how brilliant that is? You know how, like, you know how much more.
But it's going to get crapped on because of who is mentioning it.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, you know how brilliant it is? That is like, come on, like, that is proven. The system, even though we're looking at everything under a microscope, the system is proven over how long that it works, and you just continuously buy it. And if you have the ability, imagine starting when you were born. As soon as you were born, imagine you had exposure to the overall markets. What are they going to do? What's like?
If your parents did that for you, like, you know what I mean?
Oh my God, it's just like, we hit where's the face slapper? That's what, if your parents, like, I wish I could do that to mine. It's like, come on, man. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, it seems, again, it's obviously a lot more difficult and easier said than done, whatever it may be, but is it really though? Like, think about going back.
Are you not paying your bills every month?
Dude,
are you not? Like, isn't this kind of the same thing?
Think about when you started working at 14. Like, before I even graduated high school, look what the Nasdaq, the triple Qs has done from 2010 to now. Right? You know how much drastically life would be? It's like, shit, if you're not doing that for your family members, then I don't know, man. I don't know.
I completely agree. And that's something my parents weren't really involved in at all.
Yeah.
They were never really involved in the market. My old man, you know,
well, my grandma's the same way. She's not really risk on. Like, she's like, but you know what Achilles said? He said, man, no one's gonna remember your name if you don't do bold things, essentially, right? Like, so you gotta take those steps. I remember I wanted to, I was sitting on a little bit of cash just when I was in my earlier 20s, and I wanted to put every dime that I had into Canopy Growth Corp, right? Like, all eggs in one basket. And my grandma's like, no, don't do it, don't do it. Yeah. But I was fortunate enough to ride that wave to the point where I bought pretty much almost, like, my old Beamer, bought that cash, and helped put a down payment on a place right now. Man. You have to be bold. Yes, that's hindsight. We did lose a lot of that, but ignorance is bliss sometimes, and you have to take those bold moves, but you also have to be willing to lose it as well, too.
100%. 100%. But, like, what we just showed there with the Qs,
the bold, man.
You saw the Qs, man. I mean, we can go even further with the SPY. Let me see what the SPY has to offer over here, because I think the SPY goes back a little bit further on my charts. Just one sec, Assassino. Let's just take a quick look here at the monthly of the SPY. Okay, Joey. We're going to do it live on this one, where it's just hopefully it doesn't embarrass me. Okay, so this one goes to 1993, beginning of 93. Joey freaking options. Not as much, man, as I thought. So from 93, the SPY is definitely a less parabolic than the Qs. 1,460% from 93. But I'm assuming the Q is definitely a lot more parabolic than that. But tell them.
Yeah, I mean, the growth within tech, right? Like, a little bit different. All right, guys, PDS, biotechnology, Nasdaq, PDSB is transforming how the immune system targets and fights cancer with initial focus on HPV-16 positive head and neck cancer. HPV-16 can cause head and neck cancer, and more people are facing these high-risk cancers than ever before. HPV-16 positive head and neck cancer are projected to become the most common type of head and neck cancer in the U.S. in a few years. Yeah, I think about it all the time, man. If I wasn't at house parties and stuff in high school, imagine if I knew about Bitcoin back then. If I knew about all that stuff, I didn't until I was in my early 20s. I didn't know a thing about essentially what was going on. Yeah, so there it is. Darius, I wanted to pull up your contract here, brother. This is what I wanted to talk a little bit about. I mean, we were down to a low around $6 when we were talking about that. But hey, at the end of the day, man, at one point you did get that move over like 100% return. So nice. Let's see if you can get that 30. The Nasdaq is starting to rebound. It's choppy, right, guys? Tesla heading right back up as well, too. So keep that in mind. But the shorts might be in place. Silver really taking it on chin. You're down 23% at one point. So keep an eye out on that, guys. All right, $5 super chat. I DCA monthly and choose my day when 3-day SMA is less than 8 SMA, and then close it less than and the close is less than the open. And yesterday's close, you guys rock. Much appreciated, Jeff Jones. Love hearing your strategy as well, too, man. Just keep buying it hand over fist if you have the ability to do so. I request you to please look at him, says Pranette. Okay, we'll take a look at him momentarily. Let's go Palantir. Caught that 3-minute candle off of the lows. Congratulations there. Forever, my friend. Yeah, and there goes Tesla right back to the top side. Position board currently not working. Sharif is synthetically short SLV via the inverse vehicle right there. We're all out of SLV. We're still sitting in TSLL here, up 10%, so 5% here on Tesla. Let's see if we can breach that high of the day.
All right, APRE, pardon me, is starting to move up again, trying to work through that dollar area. It's been several failed attempts of the dollar area, and full disclosure, this is my biggest L on the day, this piece of crap 98 penny stock, and that's on me. I got distracted with something and I didn't put a stop, and when I looked over, I was 15 pennies out of the money. So that is on me, but doesn't mean that it's not setting up for a finally decisive break of a dollar. Now, mind you, it's a $1.06 high. It did topping tail multiple times earlier at around 11.40, 11.45, 11.50 through that dollar, only to fail all the way down to 2/3 of a dollar. So I'm not going to be quick to jump in just because it took out the dollar by a couple of pennies here and there. I'm going to actually insist that it clear the dollar. I'm not really sure by how much. I want to see a couple of closing prints above that dollar area, and then we're going to get involved with this one if it's going to use the dollar as its area of support, currently obviously resistance. So APRE back in focus, up 63%, trying to do it live, but not quite good yet. EPLW is bleeding its own blood. It is halted down now, 357 high. It is halted down at 239. It's still up 455%, but it was a prolonged halt, I want to say, from 12 o'clock, and then it opened up about 12:20, so a 20-minute halt on that, and now we are down into local area lows. I do perceive, though, there to be some support at around $2. And let me make my case as to why. EPLW, let me bring in the black charts over here. EPLW certainly has an area crest, which was an obvious area of resistance into that 190, right? And that 190 is kind of close to that $2 psychological support. Moreover, the volume weighted average price mid 180s, right? So that's showing you that this zone here, I don't have a rectangle to, oh, the Katina Man's back from the gym. I'm along with you, Katina Man. I took the inverse ETF. There we go. Shout out to the Katina Man coming back from the gym. He's all amped. So this 190 to $2 area here on EPLW could be a dip buy. Now, it is kind of contingent upon. Yeah, you coming back? You find the. Short 91. The Katina Man is short $91 on silver. As you can see, it's $82.18. But to digress back to EPLW, this is a buy zone for me. So I'm going to be looking to see if I can get that. Of course, it will have to, be liquid at that level, not halted at that level. That's not gonna cut it for me. But we'll continue to watch APRE here as well, Joseph Options, because I'm looking for a decisive break of a dollar, and then we're gonna weasel in.
All right, yeah, good look there, man. I mean, here's the Nasdaq, right? Like here's the SPY as well too, starting to get a little bit of a rebound. But there's no bid being established here in silver. It's just continuing to move lower here, guys. Tesla gonna go and test that high of the day here momentarily. It looks like we're starting to pick up volume on the lower time frames as well. So take a look at this here on the 1 minute time frame. Boom, increase in volume, and we're starting to stair step up, and I like that. So as soon as we breach, we'll piece a little bit more out. Position board not up yet. We'll get that working for you momentarily, but SoFi still can't find any form of a bottom. Let's run through our scan and see what we got going on that front. Because, I mean, other than that, guys, like less trading yesterday. Wasn't too good of a day for me. Like I was getting frustrated trading gold, and I should have just stopped at one point. And that's the big. I tell myself all the time. I tell myself this for 5 years: is just stop trading. Not every day is going to be a green day. That's just the nature of the beast in which we work in. And if you think that's going to be the case, then you're in the wrong industry. And someone was saying, yeah, the markets will destroy you mentally. Yeah, it's tough, man. If you don't follow your rules, the rules will break you eventually, and then you're just like, this stuff it doesn't make any sense to do. But there it is. 192.89 on NVDA. Microsoft starting to find somewhat of a bounce here, guys. See if you can run into the volume weighted average price there. I don't think it's going to breach it today, but we'll keep our eyes on the Nasdaq. See, when you're trading the QQQs, you have to keep an eye on so many different vehicles, right? Like mainly the Mag 7 to see what they're doing. And if they're all not moving kind of in tandem, then you might run into a little bit of trouble. It's like, hey, what's going on here? So starting to see a bounce in some of these big boys. And with that being said, with NVDA moving higher, guess what? If you're thinking you're going to short the Qs, well, have a blessed day because you're going to have a bad time on that one, right? Cisco starting to get a little bit of a bounce. Oracle not doing too good. IBM, it's a face slap for Sean as you head into 81.92. So nice look there. AMD down to 241. Still with the inability to breach the volume weighted average price. A steady downtrend. Even though we're now currently sitting on the back side of this one, keep an eye out on AMD. We can run through IBIT as well. Chop fest over here in IBIT, a lot of eastward price action. Once again, if you're a range trader, you just want to buy the lows, sell the highs, And I think that might be the narrative over here in the Nasdaq. But again, considering I'm looking to play a basket of stocks, maybe it's not that the answer is not in the TQs right now. Just look for an individual equity and try to go with the flow on that one. But other than that, 2 for 3 on the day. I really don't need to trade anymore, regardless of what the P&L is looking like. We're not going to complain whatsoever. It's been a pretty good one. A nice low off of Alibaba. And there it is. You might get a little bit of a bounce there. Oh, I think silver's going to keep going here, man.
It's
like
insane.
22.5%.
It's insane.
There it goes.
Katina Man keeps getting lit up, bro.
23, man.
Katina Man keeps getting lit.
Yeah.
Show Katina Man's chart there, because it's littered with prints. If we are able to assassino, there we go. Good look there, brother. Good look. There you go. And that's a couple of ads, by the way, there. That's not just one ad. Those purple triangles, those are shorts, and then the green triangles, those are profit takers. Shout out to the Katina Man. Excellent trade, brother. Yeah, hope you print up multiple storms on your side. There we go. We're going to hit the storm thing. There we go. All right, ZSL, we're long, guys, at 24. It's showing 34. I've been waiting at 35 for a while. So 235 on ZSL is certainly a flat top that we can't shake right now. So I'm in 3 positions at the moment. I weaseled into RPGL. I'm also in APRE. I'm looking for continuation. That's YCBD. Give me a second here. RPGL, we're in at 58s. It's showing me 60s. I'm looking for a top break here into 170. Is that real?
Yeah, bro.
Is that real?
I think so.
What's the matter with him?
I don't know, man.
Oh my God. You gotta be, I know we don't have a president, but you gotta be presidential. That's not presidential. Anyway.
That's your tax dollars, buddy.
Tell me how you really feel about him, Joey.
Yeah, well.
All right, so we're continuing to watch over here, APRE. We're looking for continuation through the high of the day. It's still 106. A loss of $1 gets me out. It's really that simple. We're in at 102. It loses $1, I'm out. But we're going to continue to watch here ZSL as this one does continue to accumulate at that 235. That 235 seller on ZSL and inversed 2 times inversed leveraged ETF for silver. We're looking for that 235 flat top break. We're not immediately able to get it. But there goes RPGL. Bovin, you better be in this, Bovin, because you're the one that was calling it out to me. There it goes through 170. What do we got on RPGL? 158. Looking now for continuation into the $0.75. Not immediately taking that out. But guess what, guys? Even though that 170 area has been a really, really annoying area, it is putting in higher lows. You need to be alive to the higher lows because that will allow you to get more in. And here it comes. So I'm going to be adding some here in the low 50s. It didn't even give me an opportunity to get it. It just bounced right back up. So I didn't even get an opportunity to add. So we're going to have to pack the patience there. Shout out to Bovin. He's been in for 42 cents. Shout out to the OG Bovin. David, the red, check out the volume on the 30-minute chart for SLV. I'll do that in a second, but we got to pause. Okay, we're not. Okay, no worries. We'll wait for that to come up. Shout out to Nira. Any thoughts on feed? Well, I saw everybody yelling about this one, that it was a short. I think Farm Trader was telling me the short is on feed. I don't have locates. Let's flip to the 5. Let me see exactly what the look is here on the hungry one. Yeah, excellent volume, weighted average price rejection at 11.15, 11.20. Clean VWAP hold. Here it comes, though. That 383 area, that is yesterday's closing print, and that is likely where there may be an area of support. I also like the chart pattern that we're putting on, looking like a head and shoulders pattern if we give up the neckline that I perceive to be at around yesterday's closing print into the 380s. This could be a big boy drop, possibly into that area high that we had from a couple of days ago, which is about $2.75 to $3. Okay, so look for continuation there. You also have other levels that may come in before that 275 to 80. I'm talking about the aftermarket low and the pre-market consolidation area from this morning. That's around 3.25 on feed. So feed, it does look like the short is on. It's bleeding its own blood. It's losing the neckline right there, and it's about to go red on the day if it loses 383. Assassino. All right, we have to pause for a second, guys. We got a very special guest with Adara at the big desk.
I was just about to say there are not one, but 2 CEOs today on the show. We have Sheldon Ewantash right here, CEO of 3D Capital. Then to my far left, we have Paul Duffy, CEO of AIML. You were on the show recently, of course. So thank you both for being here today. How are you guys doing today?
Good. It's great to be here on this brisk morning.
Yeah, Adira, thank you once again for having us. It's wonderful.
Yeah, so excited to talk to you guys today. So let's get into it. I'll start with a couple questions for Sheldon. You run a risk-diversified basket of high beta tech names, everything from quantum and Internet of AI to wearables, gold, copper, other resource plays. So with that in mind, can you give us a one-line snapshot of those names that you're most excited about right now?
Yes. So to remind people, we have approximately 60 companies. So we're very deep in the resource sector, looking for major discoveries. We like Forte Minerals as an example. We have a number of privates that are going to come public. 1 Bullion just came public. It's probably the largest landholder in the country of Botswana for minerals, 3 grass, roots and greenfield plays. So it's quite unique. We're deep in AI. We have a company, you mentioned Internet of AI, called Hypercycle, and another company called TotaQ for micropayments. We're extremely positive on imminent milestones, and that's really like to report on. And then there's Dynex, our quantum company. So, and then we're here with Paul, probably our top, in terms of public company, AIML, a company we're the largest shareholder in, and extremely positive about.
Well, let's get into that here. Let's talk about your track record of billion-dollar exits and multi-bagger wins. So how confident are you that AIML and Paul Duffy here fit this criteria, and what specifically gave you this confidence for this play?
So I've done a lot in the space of biotech. We had a company called Visible Genetics years ago. We financed it at 20 cents. It went to $120 on Nasdaq. It's in pharmacogenomics, which was personalized medicine. We went through the FDA. So I've been in many companies from beginning to exit. And with AIML, we think they've made a major disruptive invention, perhaps the most disruptive in 60 years in medical diagnostics around the heart. And it's all based on AI. So we're extremely positive. They've made a lot of progress and announcements, and that's why we wanted Paul here with us today.
Yeah, of course, and I actually want to mention that 60-year number that you just brought up here, Sheldon, because, Paul, can you tell us what AIML Innovation's 60-year breakthrough invention is?
Yeah, sure, I'd love to. So give me a minute or two to kind of go through it. So very, very top level, to be frank, what we ended up inventing and then patenting was a novel way to measure a heartbeat. And I know that sounds somewhat, I'll just call it superficial or naive, but the truth of it is, it allows us with our neural net technology to go into an actual recording of your heartbeat, typically through an ECG, an electrocardiogram device. And inside that signal, we're able to identify not just the pulse, but in fact, the start of what they call the P wave, so the start and stop of that wave, the start and stop of the QRS complex, and then the start and stop of the T wave. Now, a little bit science here, but if you think about taking those data points and putting them into a glorified Excel spreadsheet, now imagine that you do that for 2 or more heartbeats. But over the course of a day, you now have 100,000 heartbeats. So with that quantum of data, we then set up another table, believe it or not, that looks at the differences between how those data points are changing. And then we can even do this in real time, but let's just pretend it's a recording. Now we've got a time series database with a hard data wall of labels of your heart. This has not been done before in the entire 60 years that this industry has been around. And the ECG is the fulcrum point. It's the high point of leverage for all cardiovascular diagnostics. You come in to see your doctor, your healthcare provider, you're short of breath, probably the first thing they're going to do is ask you to take an ECG, understand what's going on in your heart. Now, with that data table and that time series table, we're able to produce a third table, which is all the anomalies that we identify happening within the context of that recording on your heart. That's the breakthrough, because we're device agnostic, so there's hundreds of different devices on the market today that we can apply our technology to. And then there are dozens of incumbent systems that are in place, both in regulatory and in what we call unregulated, which is the wellness market. So we've got this broad opportunity, this aperture of market availability right now that we're just entering. And to date, to Sheldon's point, the traction is just getting bigger and bigger for us. So we're very, very excited about this. Huge breakthrough.
Thank you so much for going over that with us.
Little lengthy.
So they can kind of understand,
Yeah.
right, exactly what you guys do. So now let's get a little bit more into what differentiates you guys. What's technically different about max yield and cardio yield versus other AI ECG tools made by companies like Apple, Samsung, et cetera?
Yeah, it's a great question. So foundationally, those systems, those tools or those products, those devices, what they do is they look for your R peak. So they're looking for that pulse. You know how you feel your heartbeat, beep, 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 that kind of, they're just identifying that. What we're doing is we're cracking open the heartbeat and we're finding all the fiduciary points that live within the heartbeat. And then as I mentioned with max yield, we're able to actually create the maximum amount of diagnostic yield possible from that recording. None of these devices can do that today, not even close. So, and we're not looking to compete with them, by the way. I want to sort of outline this for our, your viewers and our shareholders. We're looking to license our technology natively into their platforms because it is an elegant install of a neural net through an SDK. All of a sudden, those devices now get access to that vast quantum of data that I just talked about through max yield. When they're in market and they're talking about their wellness, their longevity, and even their clinical efficacy, they've now got this amazing technology that can almost turbo boost what they're able to do in the market. So we're a nice, elegant solution for these guys, and we're in a multitude of discussions with them right now.
Yeah, that's certainly really important to know, and I think a very important distinction as well. So this last question for both of you, what are your stock catalysts to watch out for now that are going to cause a move higher, and what does success look like 3 years out? So I'm going to start with you, Sheldon.
Sure. Well, first thing I should say, we're trading at an 80% discount to our value, primarily because of the delay in launches in some of our companies that we expected last year. But this is a year for commercialization, and we think there's some very significant milestones that are imminent, that we hear from our companies that they're working on. So we're very excited about what's going to happen here for the first 6 months of the year.
That's awesome. Paul, same question to you. What catalysts should we watch out for, and how do things look 3 years out for AI/ML?
Well, I can wax all day on where we'd be in 3 years from now. Pulling it back to today, price of our stock clearly does not represent the potential, nor does it represent the phenomenal technology. And I might mention that max yield that we talked about has a formidable stack of intellectual property and patents in play, and only getting bigger every month, right? So just that alone warrants a significant, I'll call it re-rate in value of what we do. On top of that, we are progressing very quickly, and I would probably wager through the first half of this year into the early part of the second half of this year, we will begin to clear the regulatory clearances. That is substantial because now we're able to move directly into the clinical markets that are really the foundations for what we're building. So we're with the FDA, we're with Health Canada, and we're deeply ensconced in Jamaica through their Ministry of Health and Safety. We believe the Jamaican opportunity will represent probably one of the strongest proxies into serving globally all of these rural and remote communities that are almost always orphaned when it comes to getting access to high quality cardiovascular diagnostics. So we believe that the next 6 months are going to be incredibly transformative for us as a company. We're also moving through very quickly commercialization to get to revenue and then eventually revenue break even. We're a mean company. Our horizon for profitability is not a lot, and we feel a number of deals, 3, 4, 5, tips us over the edge to get to that. If I look back and where we're going in 36 months, it's super exciting. AI, as we all know, is galloping in capability. If I looked out 18 to 36 months, our vision is to take this patented technology process, max yield, construct what we view as a super signal, and allow us to move from not just the heart, but into the brain, into your blood glucose, into other modalities, so that you create a super signal that can be used both in the consumer wearable environment, but also in the regulatory, where appropriate. So it's greenfield for us. We are able to do all of that because we've got the foundational technology in our wheelhouse.
That's incredible, and thank you so much for both of you for being here. Again, guys, this is Sheldon Uintosh, CEO of 3D Capital, and Paul Duffy, CEO of AI/ML. Thank you to you both for being here. And
Thanks,
thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks very much to the guys, and for Adira, great information, great interview, guys. AIML, the ticker, make sure you're checking that out. AIML Innovations on the Pure Network. Thank you very, very much. All right, let's get back to trading. Bovin.
There's a IDK as well too, guys. 8 cents right there for 3D Capital right there. 3D Capital.
3D Capital.
Yeah.
All right, we're doing it freaking live right now on RPGL. I don't know what's going on with the position board, guys. We got 58s. We just wet the beak there at 83. Great strength on RPGL, but it is having trouble with that 80 penny area, despite the fact that it is an 85 penny high. Keep your eye out on this one. It's looking good here, Bovin. Shout out to you. My man Bovin's got it from 42 pennies. Unbroken higher low area, not candles, okay? I'm looking for a possible refresh here, Bovin, possibly into the mid to low 60s. I'm thinking, 63, something like that. Let's just put RPGL on the side chart. It's not updating. So topping tail candle now through 85. This current candle still has a higher low. It has a higher high and a higher low, but it's looking very topping tailish. So I am a little concerned. Separately, silver finding some resistance. So we wet the beak there through the break of 40 on ZSL. But it's got a 243 high dipping now into 238, still up 50%. This is an inverse leveraged ETF. And AXTI, where is that? I think I took it off. Let me put it over here. AXTI might be breaking trend. No, not on MX. There we go. Breaking trend over here. I'm not sure. I don't want to call this one out unless, or not call it out. I don't want to enter it until I'm a lot more certain that the higher lows, the lower highs, excuse me, are broken, because the downtrend is still intact on this one. But it does look like it's taking out the trend line. It did that before. It lured me in. I ended up losing money on that one. So I don't want to be quick to jump in. And yeah, that's basically it, Joey. Can I keep my eye on APRE as well as at dilly-dally south of the dollar?
All right, good stuff, brother. Man, I'm just looking at something, and this is extremely frustrating. I mean, how are you going to switch up prints on your boy like that? So I got to take a look at another platform, because that's so telling. Like, for me as a price action trader, obviously you want to keep your eyes on the tape, but what this was being displayed as a couple of minutes ago isn't the same thing right now. So it's like, what is going on? And it's this specific candle, like this, the close was literally almost equal to the open. And that tells you a very different story than what we got going on. Like, I probably wouldn't have took off the remaining half of my position if it closed like that. And then sure enough, we get a nice little bounce to the back and establishing a new high. So I'm like, that's just not fair, man. Trickery is just, it's annoying. But yeah. Okay, but yeah, there it is. We failed to put in a new high, guys. That's going to be the second lower high right now. We're still holding on to TSLL. You see where we're involved in, so there's no reason for me to get out of it just yet. Let's see if we can get a break and put in a new high. Silver down 25% at that $79 low. We were out at $84. Sharif.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3x daily leveraged ETFs featuring built-in FX hedging. This built-in FX hedging aims to amplify short-term market moves by minimizing the impact of those pesky currency swings. So whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. You need, though, to read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. Shout out to them.
Shout out. All right, yeah, so heading back over to silver, guys, still, man, oh man, this is disastrous. This is not a good time, like, if you're involved with this, but ride the wave, have fun with it. Hopefully we get somewhat of a rebound, but the volatility is most definitely increasing. We're going to take a look at it from the options chain. Guys, we recognize the increase over here when it just jumped substantially, and Brent was talking about this from Spot Gamma as well, too, so keep an eye on this. And sure enough, what's to come, a 30% retracement, a little bit less than that from that previous high, man, a third of the value. And I seen someone in the chat say that people are just trying to offload their silver right now, and you can see that we're dumping down to 79.47. That's going to be on the ETF, not spot itself. But let's pull up the options chain on SLV and see what we got going. Holy cow, man.
What, man?
That is dangerous, dude.
Dangerous.
314% implied volatility. Oh man, that is not fun whatsoever, man. Yes, man. Anyways, aside from that, guys, you're going to be paying an increased premium. Be cautious of what you got going on. Dave Treziak, I know you had those puts. You feel like you offloaded them a little bit too early, but hey, I know you're thankful for what you got, and obviously you're going to learn from that and maybe hold on to a couple of more. But regardless, oh, Pathik, where are you, brother? Because you're like, hey, Joe, man, I sold some of those calls that I had 45 out of the 50. Trust me, I don't forget. Maybe, I'm not going to say, I was going to say I have the memory of an elephant, but that's definitely not the case, Shree, because you know how they have good memories. They technically don't forget, and people don't forget as well, too. But Patrick, you were saying that you had 45 or 50 calls, you sold 45 of them, left 5 for a runner. How do you feel now, considering silver just took a 30% dump? What if you were still holding on to those, my brother? You would have lost a lot, and you would have been a lot more frustrated. So that's why you always have to be thankful and happy. If you happen to extract profit from these markets, be happy to do so, man, because things can get ugly quicker than you think. Just like that. 2 days, 30%. That's not a good time.
That's crazy. All right. RPGL added back into this one, into the 60 penny area. If it loses 60, I'm out. So we've got, I believe, 65, 64s. We did wet the beak at 69, but no continuation into the mid-70s. I'm looking for a technical area of support on this one to hold up. I'm in YCBD. I'm in 4 trades at the moment. You want to go?
No, I'm just saying, you're in silver, man. You must be killing it because it just jumped down to $78.
It is really going. There is ZSL. Dude. Joey making the point there. We've got ZSL at 24s. It's into 46. Silver is going. It's very aggressive. Down, that is. This is an inverse leverage ETF, meaning that it's moving at twice the inverse of SLV. So just keep your eye out on this one. We're going to be doing it live. Let's see if we can get into the $0.50 on this monster. So back to what I was just trying to say there on RPGL. This one did dip into that 60 penny area, which had been a tough area for it to clear. It's also the 10 EMA, which is why I added. But if it loses that level, I'm out. Simple as that. There goes silver again into another area low. Silver, the actual SLV, is down 26.5%. It's bleeding its own blood. It's a very, very aggressive trade now. And we're going to flatten out here into the top just so that we can start the news segment soon in about 5 minutes or so. This is very aggressive. Good look here for this trade. I'm happy that I actually took it with some size because I didn't really give it much room at all. I got in at, I believe, at 24s, and I gave it to 20, and it didn't disappoint me. So pleased about that. Looking for more, though, on some others. YCBD involved in this one as well, looking for a move into the $0.25, not giving this one much room either. And also, I mentioned RPGL already. I wanted to mention this one, APRE. This is my biggest loser on the day because it was an ill-fated trade here where I didn't have a stop. We're not going to make that mistake again, but I'm looking here for a general area hold. There's a whole bunch of selling into that dollar area, but it's all being led up with some higher lows. So I'm trying to put the odds on my side. These higher lows means buyers are getting more exuberant, picking it up at more expensive prices on every dip. If that's going to be the case, I'm looking for a flat top break here on APRE. Whether or not I get wicked out, stopped out before the flat top break, if the flat top break comes, your guess is as good as mine. But we're going to try to put the odds on our side and see what happens, Joey.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, so, I mean, we're still sitting in this position here on TSLL. $77 now on SLV, guys. It's continuing 26%. I wouldn't be surprised if we head into 30s. I mean, we're talking about where is that next potential support level. And I mean, if we go from an open interest perspective and a standpoint, that's going to be $75, right? I mean, we blew past that $80 mark where we had a lot of open interest right there, but $75 might be in the works. So that's only $2 away from now. Let's see how we react. And if you head over to the lower time frames, the 1 minute, guys, look at the acceleration in the selling volume. People are hitting the panic button right now, in my opinion, on silver. So just be cautious. Gaurav and I were talking in the chat saying, man, this isn't the time or the place to try to grab a VPA signal off the lows here on silver. Technically, waterfall type price action. You get any form of buyer stepping in, boom, immediately push back down. So be cautious on that one. So far, SPY still hovering around those lows as well. So keep an eye out on that. Tesla, can we hold up on the volume-weighted average price? Are we going to break down? I mean, it is going counter-trend the overall market, which isn't bad, and we're fortunate enough to be participating in that one. But as soon as this neckline breaks around that 434 level, then who knows what can happen after that, right? Like you can head maybe a little bit south of the volume-weighted average price. The Nasdaq, just a steady channel to the downside right here. So if you can grab the top end of the channel, just look to sell that. And the same with the SPY, forming a little bit better. And this is what I'm talking about. You have that first half hour of consolidation, or sorry, that first hour of consolidation, hour 15 minutes, and then you slowly take that slide a little bit lower. I think the individual equities are performing better than what we got on the TQQs in Nasdaq or in the SPY. Some cleaner price action on that front. So we'll head over to our scanner. What's leading the way? Holy smokies.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, 241 million shares traded in SLV, man. Talk about a crowded space. 25.75% down. That's not looking too good. SoFi heading to the downside as well. Daily not looking good. And this is what we're talking about, right? Like we've seen this on multiple occasions. And we talk about the Wyckoff theory. I forget the name of the book that in which I read it in. I have it on my shelf at home somewhere. It was years and years ago in which I read it, but accumulation, and then you have this phase up here, and then it's just eventually distribution as you break through that $26 mark, right? And now you're heading down to $22. That was inevitable when you have that type of curl over, in my opinion anyways. We've seen this on multiple occasions. Is that going to be the case here with NVDA? I don't think so, but keep an eye out on Robinhood as well, because it's forming a similar price action pattern. We're just delaying the inevitable, I think, at this point. We're going to break that $100 mark and maybe head into the 90s. But I have the utmost faith in Robinhood. And once again, when you have those like triple-digit returns in a year, this is kind of what I expect, right? It doesn't matter what the name is. The market will eventually start to pull back in, and it'll allow you to buy at better prices.
No question about it, man. And people want those.
People want those.
Because you want, obviously, get more. You want to be punching it at highs. So,
more.
Yeah. Guys, ELPW has halted up again, up 627%. It seems to have found support in and around that, in between 2 to 2.25. Not really seeing exactly what the price is there, but I'm in APRE. As I mentioned, this is my biggest loser on the day. Now we've got 95 pennies, and we built the position in, multiple entries into this one. I'm looking for a flat top break through $1. It's a 106 high, but it's really done nothing in terms of closing prints above that dollar area. It is being led up to this dollar break with higher lows, and it wasn't a parabolic retracement into the dollar like we saw at around noon. So it was more steady state. Whether that, kind of means that we're going to get that dollar break decidedly or not, your guess is as good as mine. We're going to keep an eye out on this one, though, and we're going to look to take prints into 104, 105, and then we'll see whether or not we can take out that 106 high. So by definition, I'm going to put a 107 so that we can take out that intraday high. And see what's up there. SLV, or not SLV, ZSL continues to trend into the high. People were saying it's pulling back. Yeah, sure, there was some profit taking, but now it's another new high of day on ZSL, up to $2.50 now, $2.50, up 57%. This is an inverse leveraged silver ETF, 200%. So keep your eye on this one. Separately, YCBD, I did stop myself out of that one. We did lose a little bit on this, not much. I think about two pennies per share. I got in at 15, got out at 13, so not bad. It did kind of inverse, bottoming tail hammer candle through VWAP and now reclaimed it, but I'm not gonna chase that one. So we're gonna let that one go. We're gonna focus our energy on APRE and see if we can kind of get that one to take out that 106 area high. It is 1 o'clock though, and there is a lot of different names to cover. So let's start the new segment, and then I'm going to put my stops and whatever for APRE, and we'll report to you incrementally about how that one is going. It's above $1 now, but who knows really, Joey, whether this closes above $1 or not. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's bring that in. I'm just going to put this on a different screen so it doesn't block my APRE trade. There we go. We'll put it over AXTI. So let's talk obviously about the main headline of the day. I know there was a lot of earnings reports yesterday, but in case you don't know, just joining us for the first time, President Trump woke up quite early today. He usually does wake up quite early, and as someone who has Truth Social on their phone and activates notifications for Truth Social, I don't really allow most notifications on my phone, but Truth Social is an exception. I know that President Trump likes to truth at all times of the night. And this morning wasn't the night, it was early morning, we found out that it's going to be Kevin Warsh who will succeed current chair Jerome Powell as the next Federal Reserve chair. It caps a 5-month selection process that was headed by Secretary Scott Bessent. Apparently, he interviewed over 11 candidates and then narrowed it down to Warsh last week, so let's talk about this. Warsh previously called... Oh, I have to pause. Okay, because we're taking out levels here on APRE and I have no prints. So let's go 111. Let's go 115. Because we have shares on this one, we'll go 119. We'll see what we can get on this. So Warsh did previously call for regime change. Those are his words at the Fed, arguing that incumbents suffer from a credibility deficit. The market is also watching whether his views align more closely with President Trump's push for easier policy or moderates once in office. Now, what's interesting... Everything good?
Yeah.
Oh, that thing? All right. Now, what's interesting is that Kevin Warsh is, I wouldn't really call him a dove. And so if you're looking for interest rate cuts, you may get it from him, but that hasn't really been his modus operandi. In fact, his argument has been that the balance sheet for the Fed is too big. And he kind of wants to narrow that down. As I was talking about earlier, as it relates to my small cap gappers, that does concern me because a smaller Fed balance sheet does have sort of an inverse correlation, or direct correlation, I should say, with these more speculative assets, right? As the balance sheet shrinks, so does interest in these more speculative Bitcoin, small caps, companies that are less proven in terms of income generating. So this does concern me a little bit for the more speculative assets, at least in the short to intermediate term, but you never really know how this is all going to go out. Now, Powell still has 2 years remaining on his term as Fed governor, and it would be unprecedented, but he may choose to stay on, breaking with that tradition. So we'll have to wait and see how this all ends up panning out. But big development today, Kevin Warsh likely to take over for Jerome Powell in May. All right, we just got the print there through 12s, but that 15 print on APRE, not printed as the high of the day, is 14. So we'll have to pack our patience there. We're going to let Joey come back from break. We're going to send it to Adara. Give us your thoughts on the new Fed chair.
I think that the fact that he's being viewed as hawkish is, I'm actually seeing a lot of people attribute that, at least in part, to some of the sell-off and specifically some concerns here that we're seeing, of course, in these metals, right? This concern that he could be a bit hawkish. For what it's worth, though, Druckenmiller has said that he actually does not view Kevin Warsh as a hawk, said that he can go either way. Trump, for his part, made a wild series of comments today when he was doing that IndyCar executive order signing around 12 p.m. He said that it would be inappropriate for him to pressure Kevin Warsh to cut rates, but he also said that he will be talking to Warsh about cutting rates. So, I mean, obviously kind of unclear here. He clearly is not worried about any kind of hawkishness because, and when he was asked about this, Trump himself said, well, sometimes you do have to raise rates. So either way here, Trump seems satisfied with the pick for now. The other concern he might have is getting this pick confirmed, because we know that Tom Tillis has said, we're not going, and he's not the only senator who said this, but he's definitely the most vocal about it. We're not going to confirm whoever the new Fed chair pick is now, of course, Kevin Warsh, until we get that resolution with the Powell investigation. Trump does not really want to resolve or close that. So I think with that in mind, it could be a little bit of a stalemate for a while. We're going to have to wait and see how all that resolves. But the point I'm trying to make is, just because we have this pick out now does not mean that there's any kind of total calm here. The storm is still roiling in terms of any potential updates here at the Fed. That's my take on this. We'll have to wait and see what type of job Warsh does. But yeah, interesting. Myron now, I guess, off of that board. That's confirmed. So I'll have to update my infographic. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Let's talk about Apple and their earnings report yesterday. Interesting look here with revenue increasing markedly year over year, up to 16% on that top line number. Now bringing, and by the way, their Q1 is their best quarter because it's the Christmas quarter when everybody buys. So this top line number will be the largest of the year. 143.76 billion. That would account for a 16% year over year increase. And and it's well ahead of the consensus estimate of just shy of $138.5 billion. Also, EPS coming in way ahead of consensus as well. 284. The street was looking for 267. The beat was driven more by a mix of margins and iPhone upside. Let's speak about that iPhone. That iPhone revenue surged 23% year over year on the quarter, bringing in and accounting for a large majority of that $143.25 billion top line number. It is more than $85.25 billion. Well ahead of the estimates of $78.75 billion. Apple did attribute the upside in their iPhone demand to a strong iPhone 17 demand in almost the exact same way we did not hear last year with the 16 when Apple reported declines in year-over-year sales relative to the 15. So this is a welcome change for Apple shareholders, myself included. Tim Cook, CEO, called demand for iPhone staggering, highlighting strong upgrade and switcher activity. And then, how many times did we talk about China as being a headwind for Apple, as you know, the Xiaomis, the Honors, and Huawei's, all the new, well, not new, but you know, the burgeoning Chinese brands started eating into their market share? Well, that changed a little bit here. China revenue jumped 38% year over year, up to $25.53 billion, materially above expectations, with Apple posting all-time records for upgraders in mainland China. And management on the call really wanted to emphasize that the drive in sales on mainland China was not as a result of promotional discounts. And that's something we've seen Apple do before. With Alibaba, with JD.com, they would give these aggressive promotional discounts, usually on lower end models, to kind of spur that top line number, to spur, you know, sales. That isn't here. That was not the case here. They were paying full price for this. So that is obviously very good for margins, something to keep in mind. Let's talk about their different segments, because it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Mac revenue continues to fall year over year. I am hearing, though, again, around the rumor mill, there is going to be a new MacBook Air that's going to be super cheap, and it's going to be based on the A19 processor, which is in the cell phones. It's not going to be based on the M series processor, which is obviously a bit more expensive. So look for that apparently in the spring, could be maybe at their WDC event in June, but there's possibly new MacBooks coming here to kind of help that segment. That fell 7% year over year, and it missed estimates. iPad revenue, kind of the opposite, rose 6% year over year, beating expectations, and they said 50% of buyers were first-time iPad users. You never really know why. My guess here is they fundamentally changed iPad OS. So it had been prior to that, you could only have one screen up, or you could kind of do split screening. Now you can maximize, minimize, resize screens in the same way that you can do a laptop. I wish I brought my my iPad in with the keyboard today. It's fantastic. You can almost use it as a laptop substitute, and it's super quick. Obviously, not all the programs are on it, but my assumption is here, iPad is seeing higher revenue, with Mac dropping down as a result of those changes, especially with the iPads being a little bit cheaper. Wearables, home accessories declined -2% year over year and also missed expectations. But like we were talking about this morning, widely speculated online, we're going to have new AirPods Pro this year that may have cameras on the side. We don't know. Widely speculated as well. And their services revenue grew 14% year over year, with margins and services being their highest of any segment, mid-80s. That was roughly in line with estimates. Gross margins expanded about 1% year over year. And Apple guided the current quarter revenue growth of 13% to 16% year over year, which would imply a top line number of around 107.8 to 110.7 billion. That is, again, well ahead of the estimates of 104.8. And they returned about $32 billion, Joey, in share buybacks and dividends. And they confirmed their partnership with Google for Apple Intelligence, but refused to give information on the deal, the cost, the duration, all that good stuff that we always talk about. But one thing I want to mention here.
Yeah.
What would you say, don't look, what would you say Apple's CapEx, capital expenditures, is on the quarter?
On the quarter?
Okay, can I give you some comparators?
Yeah, absolutely.
Meta, 35 billion-ish, 40 billion-ish. What would you say Apple is?
I'm going to say south of 5 billion.
You're right.
Yeah.
2.37 billion.
Yeah.
So holding on to cash Could be good, could be bad.
Yeah.
We always argue that, the market makes them pay for not having their ducks in a row with AI.
Yep.
And that's probably part of the reason, no CapEx.
Yeah. I stick to my guns with this one. Regardless of, I'll take a step back here, actually. Sharif, I was talking about super cycle and iPhone in the iPhone 17. We were going to expect that with Apple Intelligence with the 16, but that wasn't necessarily the case. But iPhone 17 revenue, or iPhone revenue up 23%, that's driven by iPhone 17 sales. So I'm going to classify that as a super cycle. But I'm also going to stick to my guns in the fact that Tim Cook is a peacetime CEO and he's not a wartime CEO. And what am I getting at here essentially? Well, yes, I mentioned this before. Dan Ives mentioned that he has a better chance of making an NBA roster than Apple getting Apple Intelligence right and AI right in-house. And I think what we're experiencing now with the partnership with Google and the integration into Siri is proving that. Now, is this going to hurt them down the line? I think so, because what are you going to do? Stay heavily reliant on Google, and then next thing you know, you're going to get an additional antitrust thrown at you because you have the partnership, and now that the LLM and Siri integration is too good and it's taking too much market share from everyone else left, right, and center. So the reliance on Google just shows that the fact that they're also not willing to spend and get an upgrade and do what they need to do to come out with their own, and I think that can be dangerous in the long run. It's good, sounds good right now, but it's something that I'd be looking forward, like in the horizon, to see if that's going to.
I'm going to build on your point, but I'm going to take a bit of a different take.
Yeah.
I would say maybe not worry too much about antitrust because they kind of already resolved that relationship when it comes to search.
Yeah.
What I would say is it's a risky strategy to rely on a direct competitor for something as important as generative AI, or not generative AI, but actually physical AI.
Yep.
Right? Why? Because they compete directly with Android, right? And iPhone is definitely their biggest revenue generator.
Yeah.
So why would you be reliant upon Gemini, who's in direct competition with you? And let's cut the crap, bro.
Yeah.
You think that Gemini is going to be as good on Apple as it's going to be on Android?
Exactly.
It's not going to be.
Or the Google phone, right? Like, I mean, I get it. I still believe that even if they're second place within Siri and it becomes a solid agent, like they're still going to hold the dominance in essentially in the phone space, in my opinion. But it's something that I believe you need to be cautious about. Like, you're in direct competition, and they're not going to give you the best of the best. You think they're going to reveal all their secrets to you?
No.
Absolutely not.
All right, Adara, what's your take on Apple?
That I wasn't even going to really speak about, but because I was like, well, it's Apple, and it's funny, I even in my head, I kind of saw what we were doing this morning. We were flat, and I said, well, Apple's probably not going to really rally then, because unfortunately this is a really, really excellent report, but the market does not care. Sharif and I used to call this one the dead one, or Sharif coined that, and I think Apple's price action today really exemplifies that name. But I do want to talk about China, and that's the whole reason I want to talk about this, because I talked about this yesterday. If you look at this, and Sharif was totally correct in saying that Q1 revenue for Apple in general is always going to be stronger than the non-holiday quarters, and that's the case with China as well. But if you look at these year-over-year declines in China revenue, you only have them so aggressively in Q1. That means obviously we're still having more people in China buy Apple during the holidays, but they're just buying less Apple during the holidays each year. Now, this trend was absolutely beautifully, stunningly reversed with that massive Q4 blow up for China. So I think not just that they grew in China, the extent to which they grew in China in a quarter that is historically very bad for year-over-year growth for them in China. That, I think, is the point we have to talk about here. Furthermore, we mentioned wartime CEO, peacetime CEO. Just a reminder, this is the guy who people are thinking could be the next CEO of Apple, John Turnus. So he's got a mechanical engineering degree, if that matters. He does report directly to Tim Cook. He's actually been promoted slightly within the department since I made this infographic. He's been a hardware engineering VP since 2013. He's been with the company since 2001, so 25 years. So this man definitely has the background at Apple, has the bona fides, and he's relatively young. So anyways, in case you were wondering, hey, who's the next CEO at Apple going to be? It might be this guy. Back to you.
Thank you very much, guys. We're continuing to take prints into the high of the day on APRE, $1.16 high. We've got 95s on. It's not breaking trend. It's a very, very, very clean flat top break through $1, and now the price action seems to be finding support at the 10 EMA on the 5. Watch for a break of that or a break of prior bar low. APRE closing in on 100% on the day. Next topic, Joseph options, China. Hit it, Assassino. There you go. There you go, my guy. Come on, Assassino. Where's my China? I'm not talking to you, Mrs. Up one day, down the other. Let's talk about. See that reaction, Joey? Oh my goodness. All right, let's talk about China. Chinese authorities have approved. I'm sorry, guys. I know we keep saying this. Remember, no, be nice.
Yeah, get out of here, man. Get away from my leg as well.
He just worried about his leg. Get it, Joey. Ram's terrorizing us behind the camera. You guys can't see it, but so Chinese authorities have approved purchases of NVIDIA's H200 AI chips by DeepSeek, of all people. This is being reported by Reuters, though final regulatory conditions are apparently still being set. There goes APRE, Joseph, into the high. We're setting up now at 127. This just keeps taking out highs, okay? So we're gonna have to do both. Approvals were also granted to ByteDance, Alibaba, Tencent, with the aggregate demand cited at over 400,000 H200 units. Conditions apparently are still being finalized by China's state planner named the NDRC, which is kind of underscoring Beijing's final say on imports. Surprise, surprise, centralized, capitalist, authoritarian economies. All right, we know about those. Let's talk about the strategic importance, though, of these H200s. It is NVIDIA's second most powerful chip. And while, formally allowed for export by President Trump, it's really been the Chinese hesitation, not U.S. policy, that's been the bottleneck here for NVIDIA. The Chinese don't really want to rely on U.S. technology, but strong Chinese appetite is suggesting that pent-up demand could definitely, push this forward. And to give you an idea here, any H200 shipments to DeepSeek could draw scrutiny from U.S. lawmakers following the allegations. I think I reported this to you guys yesterday, I may or may not have, that NVIDIA-assisted models were later used by the Chinese military. So what ended up happening is DeepSeek got their hands on the H800, which for whatever reason is not as good as the H200. And they showed DeepSeek how to program or tweak the H800 to get almost H200 level capacity from those older chips. And so the argument the lawmakers are making is why is NVIDIA helping them kind of achieve the strength of these chips that were at the time not allowed, because the H200 wasn't allowed to be shipped until I think quite recently. So lawmakers definitely in focus. There goes APRE again, Joey, into $1.30. The breakout is on, man. 134. Great strength. We're going to go ahead and wait in the low 40s now. Big boy strength on APRE. The breakout is on. The shorts are running. It's up 120%. Be careful with this one, but make sure you're using sound risk management skills because it'll turn on you in a second. And Joey, DeepSeek, they've been quiet for a little while, but apparently they're going to release their next-gen version 4 by mid-February. Yeah. And they're going to be probably using the H200.
Yeah, I think it's to add to your point there, as Jensen kind of helping the Chinese get a hold of these chips, I think it's in their best favor. Why? Because you're going to make China more reliant on American technology. And once again, we were talking about this. I still feel like we're playing ping pong with this at the end of the day. Until they physically receive them, I'm just going to take it for essentially with a grain of salt, Sharif, to see what we got going on. Once they physically have them, deliveries are there. DeepSeek, Alibaba, ByteDance, obviously have them physically. Then it's going to be like, okay, we're rocking and rolling. And then you're going to start to see NVDA. I think at that point, when they have received it, when that notification comes, NVDA takes a substantial spike higher. Why? Because now they can add that revenue into the earnings report.
They can add it.
I
respect that. APRE halted to the upside, $1.37, tap showing 137. This is an NQ stock now showing 138. So we'll be able to see what the theoretical auction price is during the halt time, 119.31. All right, let's keep an eye out on this one. Fantastic look today for APRE, which was my biggest loser, mind you, but I wasn't going to let this one off the hook. Let's go on to the next.
Dude, silver 32%.
I see it, bro. Everybody's asking what the hell's going on with silver. I'm responding to people. It's
crazy.
Negative 32. This thing was over $100, mind you, the other day.
Literally yesterday.
Literally yesterday.
Literally yesterday. Even crypto hasn't. I don't think we've seen a 30% pullback in crypto. in Bitcoin
might
in
buy
2
this
days.
dip.
In 2 days.
I might buy this.
You're gonna buy this down.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, obviously, I don't want to influence what you got going on.
Oh, you
but
know me, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's
Do you think?
not behind the with the dice, bro, I
Yeah,
don't want it.
roll it, man. Yeah, roll it for sure.
I'm playing. Let's talk about this insane merger talk. Tesla's up 4%, dude. Why is nobody trading Tesla? It's up 4%. You were in TSLA.
I've been in it since
boy,
9:30 this morning.
I like it.
Well, not
I like
9:30, but like
So this is fantastic today. And
9:53.
9:53.
I've been in it. So.
Multiple different reports about what kind of mergers we could be getting here. So let's talk about this. The first one, let's talk about SpaceX. In discussions to merge with XAI ahead of a potential SpaceX IPO that we've been talking about this year. Now, the quantum of what's being discussed for an IPO is $1.5 trillion. And mind you, they just raised $50 billion in the private markets at that $1.5 trillion valuation. So who knows, by the time they come to market for the public markets, I mean, it could be more. And I think we were only talking about SpaceX like a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, at a $1 trillion valuation, and we were making the comparisons between OpenAI. Where'd that half trillion come in all of a sudden? You know what I mean? Like, this is insane.
Funding rounds, baby.
Funding rounds. This would, combination between SpaceX and XAI, bring rockets, Starlink, social media, and AI chatbots together, talk about vertical integration.
Yeah.
The deal value, the timing, the structure, all of that remains uncertain. And now, to even add a bit of a curveball into it, Bloomberg started reporting that Tesla could be the one that merges with SpaceX. We'll have to wait and see. Prediction markets all over this. Polymarket, Kalshi, what are they saying? Well, at the time of the writing of this article, this obviously changes all the time. Polymarket was assigning a 48% probability that SpaceX merges with XAI, and they only assigned a 16% probability that Tesla and XAI merge. Hi, Peter. Right. Some Tesla shareholders argue consolidation would strengthen autonomy, robotics, AI roadmap, but skeptics warn what the hell the valuation is going to be. How about the complexity of regulatory risk? Strategic rationale for this, Joey. SpaceX AI or XAI tie-up would accelerate space-based data centers. And we've been talking a lot about this lately. We've been talking about Elon Musk openly saying he wants to put data centers in space where solar energy would be powering it, and then no cooling requirement as well, because space is cold as hell. So whether or not he's able to get it up there or what kind of launch cadence he'd have with SpaceX, we'll have to wait and see. But they have been picking up the launch cadence markedly this year and into last year as well. So I don't think that's beyond the realm of possibility. Such a merger would also boost Pentagon contract prospects, I should say, and a mega deal could complicate SpaceX's IPO, and as I mentioned, introduce regulatory and execution risk. Tesla.
If that merger happens, it'll be only a matter. How long does Elon Musk have for that $1 trillion pay package? Oh, is it? I think it's like 10 years or something along those lines.
The new one?
Yeah, yeah.
Or the one that got kiboshed?
Oh, the newest one. The newest one?
I'd have to look into it.
Yeah, I think he has something along those lines. It's done in a span of a couple of years. We talk about Google being the ultimate tech ETF. If this merge happens, you grab Tesla, in my opinion, hand over fist. This would be the biggest thing in a long time in the stock market, if you ask me. And? Tesla would just be absolutely insane and in play for quite some time. So if anything along those lines actually happens, I think it's going to be extremely dangerous. And yeah, I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, Sheree.
Okay,
I'm gonna say it's gonna be the most valuable tech name and the most valuable stock from a market capitalization if that merger happens.
You think it outtakes NVIDIA, Softy, Apple, everything?
I think it gets to a point where it's almost not even close. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. I could be dead wrong, but if it happens, right? Like if you get that complete merger of obviously SpaceX and then Starlink and integrated into Tesla, you have the robo-taxi and the robotics. It's going to be the most dangerous vehicle on the planet.
APRE open. We're out, guys, at 141. This is up 135%. It's on the way to the $0.50. It looks like 142, 143 showing up now, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Unreal strength on APRE. We were talking crap about the small caps today. Well, this one made me eat my words. Dara, give us your take on Tesla.
Yeah, I really just want to talk about one post here that I think people are citing as potentially evidence for this report, and I want to break it down. So basically, going back to November 10th of 2025, Sawyer Merritt, noted Tesla bull who posts a lot of Tesla-related content, talking about a note from Morgan Stanley's Adam Jonas, who at the time covered Tesla, and the possibility of Tesla investing in XAI. So then we have Elon Musk commenting on that post, again on November 10th, saying, quote, "My companies are, surprisingly in some ways, trending towards convergence." Now, people are using that post from almost 3 months ago as some kind of evidence of the merger. I don't think that's the route to go, nor do I think that this will really ever go through or come to fruition, in my opinion. But I just want to mention that post is being used kind of as some evidence. It's pretty vague. We'll have to wait and see if that is the case, but I did want to address it because I noticed it wasn't mentioned here. Back to you.
Meta faces landmark child safety trial. This could be a big regulatory overhang for Meta and maybe why it's down almost 3% today. You'll see why at the end when we get to how many different litigations they could be facing. Meta Platforms is set to face a jury trial starting next week in New Mexico, marking the first case of its kind, accusing a major social media firm of facilitating and profiting from child sexual exploitation. It's going to be a jury trial. The lawsuit was brought by the AG of New Mexico, Raul Torres. He alleged Meta enabled predators to access underage users across Facebook, the Gram, and WhatsApp. The trial will begin with jury selection on Monday in Santa Fe and is expected to last about 7 to 8 weeks. What happened? ZSL. Yeah, I saw that. ZSL is tanking. I don't even know, man. There's something's going on over here. What the hell is going on with ZSL, guys? 276 high, it's dropping down into 232. I'm going to look quickly over here, ZSL. Let's see if there's anything that comes in. I don't have anything on ZSL. What a move down, guys, into 228. It's recovering now into 243, 250.
It's a glitch in the system.
That is some bamboozlement right there, man.
Oh, man.
That is some bamboozlement right there, Joey.
How does that even work?
That's some bamboozlement there, Joey. It's not letting me in, man. I'm trying to get in, man.
It's a glitch.
Yeah.
Big time. Oh, wow.
Let's punch here,
Something
Joey.
happened. Did you punch? Did you get in?
We got
Oh, you're in now.
punched.
Hold that, hold that,
man.
Okay,
Let me
put
set up
those
some orders. All right, we're going to set up.
It's going to correct itself.
Yeah. Well, 1 second. We're going to give it a little bit of room.
There it goes.
Joseph.
There it goes.
There it goes into the high. There we go.
Wow.
Nice call, Neil. There
What
it goes,
glitch
taking
in
out
the
all my
system.
levels. What the hell? Good call,
What a glitch
Joey.
in the system.
Oh,
my
beautiful,
God.
beautiful, beautiful. In the 70 we go. Let's wet the beak here as well. We're looking for more prints into the high. There, wow.
Dude.
That was a good one. Thank you for calling that one out. Yo, Dad, don't leave me.
Bro, that is when the slot machine is broken.
The casino always takes back the money, man. All right.
Remember when that happened with Berkshire?
I do remember that. Yeah. That was crazy.
That was
Good call out,
there was
Neil.
a glitch in the system right there. Boom.
Great call out, Neil. Thank you for that. That's a good one there. All right, let me just make sure all my orders are out so that we have got nothing over here. That was a great call out. All right, let's go on with the story. So the case stems from a 2023 undercover sting where investigators posed as users under the age of 14 on all of Meta's platforms, and those accounts reportedly received sexually explicit material and outreach from adults, which led to criminal charges against those weirdos, right? The state argues that this here demonstrates systemic platform failures, not isolated incidents. I'm going to have my own opinion on that in a second. Prosecutors are alleging that Meta prioritized engagement over safety, and they cited, failures like the infinite scroll and autoplay and all these other features. But the complaint also claims that internal documents acknowledge this risk, like depression, anxiety, self-harm, exploitation, and they chose not to, implement tools like age verification. The state is seeking monetary damages and mandated platform changes. Meta, obviously, they're going to look to defend themselves, and they're denying the allegations, calling them sensationalist and based on cherry-picked documents. The company's arguing it's protected by the First Amendment and Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, and they say they've invested heavily in youth safety tools. Now, here's the issue. Meta now faces thousands of additional lawsuits nationwide, which is, kind of similar accusations, but mostly about social media firms intentionally designing addictive products for minors with potential damage in the tens of billions, which would obviously be a huge contingent liability on Meta. Now, Do you, so first of all,
Yeah.
what's your take on this whole thing, and how much do you think the social media company is responsible for keeping child predators off their site? In the same way that Roblox, we had this issue with Roblox.
Yeah.
Anywhere where children are, these weirdos want to go and harm them.
Yeah, well, first things first, I think social media is extremely addictive, and it can harm, especially in the youth. I was fortunate enough that I think I was in grade 10 when Facebook really started to gain its popularity or so. It does change people. It does have a massive influence, in my opinion. Now, as for the, hence why Australia is taking measures. You have to be in and same with Europe as well too. But as for the responsibility of child predators, that's a slippery slope, right? Like, it's really tough. I think they are somewhat responsible. It's your platform. You have to approve who's using your platform. And with that being said, what are you going to do to combat that? I don't know. Do you do deeper background checks? Do you go into the child predator list and say, hey, if anyone who's in this realm or who's registered, they can't have these forms of social media platforms, right? So it's tough, man. It's going to cost a lot of money, and unfortunately, you're not going to be able to weave all of it out. It's just not the reality of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's no question that children need to be protected. I think anybody will have to agree on that.
And I think honestly, with that, what Australia is doing is extremely smart. All right. We talk about the iPad generation, but what I really think this is just kids and even ourselves. We get those dopamine hits, those small hits of dopamine, and that's when you kind of get into doom scrolling and everything along those lines. And I like, because we were talking about Meta's report the other day, and we're daily active people. It's not no longer users, right? It's not longer users, but again, it's extremely addictive, and I think there is precautions that need to be taken into place, because everybody's on their phone. Everybody's glued to my.
Let me ask you something though. Let me play devil's advocate.
Absolutely.
So, would it then make sense? Or would there have to be a requirement for anywhere where children are present en masse for there to be protection for children? So would, anywhere where children are, anywhere where children attend, schools, parks, is there now a responsibility on the owners of whatever place these children are at to have, protections for children that, like they're vicariously liable if any harm happens to those children? Because if you take this kind of thing, I mean, I know social media is a special context and it probably needs its own special rules, but do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I see what you're getting at. I think location is really difficult to deal with, and prevention in that front would be almost near impossible, in my opinion, right? I think it's just starting with just eliminating and trying to weed out all the bad and sour apples, essentially, which I think is going to be difficult. But as for a location standpoint, you can obviously start within the schools. Like, hey, you got to, I forget where it is, but you have to hand in your phone at the beginning of the day.
Here, man.
You can get
phones are not allowed here now.
Respectfully so, and I think that's the way to go, because they're just a device and kids get easily distracted with them. So, yeah.
I just want to, okay, we're going to go to Adara, and then I want to read some of these comments.
Yeah, I want to talk here about Fed's Musla making some comments. He just said, and I quote, "Further interest rate cuts are not advisable. Policy is now neutral and the economy does not need stimulus." So Fed's Musla not even just saying, oh, we'll cut later. He's implying the Fed should not cut further at this point at all. So this is probably some of the more hawkish commentary we've seen as of late from the Fed, again, coming from Fed's Alberto Muslim. Back to you.
Your comment? Fabian, was that your comment? Yeah. Fabian's comment? Okay. Fabian says, they used to do that, block social media in school, LOL, and we used VPNs. KT for the win 81. Sharif, yes. If we knew predators are circling a playground, it is the responsibility of the city or owner of the playground to protect those children. Couldn't agree more. I don't think that, Meta actually had direct knowledge that these predators were on there. I don't know if they did or they didn't. And if they did, would they have to be monitoring private communications in order to detect that? So for example, if an account was flagged as a person under 18, then Meta would be forced, maybe through AI, through automation, to monitor those conversations of the person under 18 so that they could detect a child predator. I just think it becomes a complicated endeavor, and I think that probably the best solution is, as you said, just make an age limit and then look for age verification.
Yeah.
But parents have to come in at some point too.
They have to come in at some point, and they have to obviously teach their kids, like, hey, you can't be glued to. Listen, there comes with the bad, there's good as well too. It's generated a completely new revenue stream that has never been before, right? Like, but one thing to note is that with social media, I've never had Instagram, right? I never had Instagram. I had Facebook, I've had Snapchat. That's about it. And just with the little social media exposure that I have X obviously for here, is that there is a massive influence. So I can't even imagine the impact on some of the kids. It's like, hey, you see people traveling on yachts, flying on private jets, and it makes people want that. Yeah, you're going to have individuals who come up on the other side of it, but what is the mental impact of other individuals who are not able to achieve those things? I think that's extremely detrimental. And everybody, the majority of us here in this room, grew up at a time where
people would agree with you on that,
right? Like so us four here, we had a time in our lives where there was none of that. And think about how great it was to call your friend on a 7-digit number and just be like, hey, meet me out front. You rally the troops on your bike. And I feel like a lot of that is missing. And I think a massive influence that has to do with social media.
Agree with you. I agree with you 100% on that. Let's move on to the next topic though. Microsoft deepening its AI stack with a $750 million investment in Perplexity. So the deal signed, $750 million, is going to be for a 3-year agreement with Microsoft to use Perplexity to use Microsoft Azure cloud infrastructure, kind of reinforcing Microsoft as that kind of go-to platform for next-gen AI workloads. The deal allows NVIDIA-backed Perplexity to run multiple different LLMs on through Microsoft's Foundry program, and it expands their role, Microsoft, again, as that neutral AI model supermarket sort of thing. Models accessible under the agreement are going to be plenty. It's going to be OpenAI, Anthropic, xAI, X, broadening Perplexity's model flexibility and locking compute into Azure. So Microsoft spokesperson confirmed Perplexity's chosen Microsoft Foundry as its primary AI platform, and the deal strengthens Azure's competitive position versus AWS and Google Cloud. Perplexity stated it has not shifted, though, spending away from AWS, which remains its main cloud provider, suggesting, the Microsoft deal is more additive than replacement. Amazon did sue, though. So even though they have a big relationship, Perplexity and Amazon sued Perplexity last year over its AI-powered agents shopping feature, and they alleged that Perplexity was improperly or illegally accessing Amazon customer accounts, and they disguised their automated activity. So a bit of tension here possibly between AWS and Perplexity, hence maybe why they're giving Azure a look. Speculative, that's not what the article says. Investors continue to view Azure AI usage growth as a key driver for Microsoft's premium valuation, but we saw yesterday Azure miss expectations.
Yeah, which I find it's like, okay, yeah, wow, they came in at 37% growth instead of 38% growth. Like, come on, what are we crying about here? It's still growing at a substantial rate, and sure enough, yeah, the stock took a hit, but I mean, 1 percentage point, and obviously margins I think compressed a little bit as well too, but it was like 4 basis points or something along those lines. It's like I think it was a little bit over a reaction, but I think we get into the point of kind of that cyclical revenue thing. We got everybody investing in one another. Now we got a $750 million deal with Perplexity. I personally like using Perplexity. I use it every day here, but I find it's interesting, and we'll see where this goes from here, Sharif.
All right. I'm just messaging you. All right, let's go to Bitcoin. Oh, no, Bitcoin. Where is it at? 82.3. All right. So Bitcoin dumps on, well, at the time of the writing of the article, it hadn't been announced that Kevin Warsh had been appointed Fed chair, the upcoming Fed chair. This one was saying Bitcoin was slumping on the speculation that Kevin Warsh was going to be appointed. Now we know that's in fact the case. And the reason is Warsh has publicly argued, I was making this case earlier in the first news part, that smaller Federal Reserve balance sheets are to kind of be desired, which is a stance that is viewed as hostile to liquidity-driven assets like cryptocurrency and some of these metals. And that's why, where is it at, man? Silver is absolutely dumping, bro. Like 33%.
What was that inverse ticker that you used again?
It is ZSL. ZSL for our American friends. The US dollar strengthened on that speculation. It's kind of inverse correlation there, but Bitcoin did fall to a 2-month low at 82.3, down roughly about 2.5%. Bitcoin now down 33% from its October record highs, and this will be likely the 4th consecutive months of declines for Bitcoin. That is its longest losing streak in 8 years, if it's going to be a 4-month decline cycle for the coin. So not a good look there. Let's talk about liquidity and asset rotation. Cryptocurrencies have historically benefited from Fed liquidity expansion, and that's why Kevin Warsh's view that the Fed should shore up its balance sheet, likely not a tailwind for Bitcoin in the short term at least. Strategists did note that fears of liquidity withdrawal are hitting the balance sheet hedges broadly, including crypto, gold, and even bonds, and we're seeing that certainly right now. And Ether also slid to 2 months low, trading around 23.75, down about 3%. Right now, ETH is at 26.67, down 4 2/3. And last but not least here, crypto's role as a macro hedge continues to weaken, Joey, amid policy uncertainty and shifting risk appetite.
Oh yeah, Bitcoin.
Yeah,
it's extremely tough. You go back into the history though, it's kind of what we expected. I mean, it's not what we expected at all, but can you be surprised by it? It's so unfortunate that the way that this thing has been performing as of late. I mean, we were talking, we were all giddy when we were climbing up into that $100,000 mark. We're thinking we're going to hit a quarter of $1,000,000. That has not been the case whatsoever. Let's zoom out here and see what we got going on. I truly don't even really know what to say about this. I personally haven't experienced a pullback in Bitcoin like this since I've owned it or anything along those lines. You're down 35%. Ethereum, it gets even worse when you head over into the crypto space. It's just really tough, man. But hey, at least it's not silver and dumped 30-something% in one day.
But it also hadn't been up that much.
Yeah, it hadn't been up that much. And we talk about the lengthy consolidations. It's really tough because when you're in a situation like this within the crypto space, you don't see light at the end of the tunnel. And right now, I currently don't. I think the tunnel is just too long and vast right now. Who knows where it's going to slide into? But it will display itself when it's going to turn over, and hopefully can establish a new high. But I'll tell you guys straight. I'll tell you exactly how it is. I don't like crypto space right now. I don't like DCAing involved with it or anything along those lines. I'm holding my little bit right now, and I've given back the majority of multiple years of gains have now gone down the toilet, Sharif. So it sucks to be involved with it, and I understand why it kind of pushes investors away. Because why would you want to be involved in something that pulls back? Right. So,
all right, let's go back to Microsoft for a second. Adira, give us your take on this Microsoft story with Perplexity.
Yeah, it's funny because my take on this story is a little bit less about the Perplexity deal in general and more about if I was a Microsoft partner now after how they did Rich Tech Robotics, I'd probably feel a bit nervous. Why? Because basically, long story short, there was a short report of Rich Tech Robotics by Hunter Brook, and the entire thesis of their short report was that Rich Tech, which is in a collaboration through a Microsoft program, basically said they're in close collaboration, quote unquote, with Microsoft. Then I guess Hunter Brook called Microsoft. Microsoft said it's just a normal customer program. And then Rich Tech drops 20%. And Hunter Brook says they're short. Now, why do I have an issue with this? Because here's the thing, based on the language of Microsoft's program that they have on their website, calling it a close collaboration isn't even that far off. So for Microsoft to say, oh no, it's not a close collaboration, like almost in cahoots with a short seller, I don't know. I find that to be very sketchy behavior. And here's the thing, like Microsoft's not the only company that does these types of programs, right? We know NVIDIA, a lot of these will have collabs where they'll work with these. And by collabs, I don't mean collaborations. I mean collaborative labs where you'll work with other companies, oftentimes smaller companies. We know, NVIDIA's done a lot of these types of arrangements. So I think when a short seller calls you and then you out and out, like basically pull a Mariah Carey, I don't know her, to a company that has some kind of collaboration with you, it's kind of in poor taste. So I think with that in mind, obviously less related to the Perplexity deal, more related to a story from yesterday, I just think if I was a company wanting to work with Microsoft, I would maybe think twice after that Rich Tech situation. But just food for thought there. Thank you very much for that. Patrick, Joseph, Sharif,
I like that everyone doesn't like Bitcoin right now. Need more deep blood and panic in the street, but a nibble here and there doesn't hurt for the long term. I think that's kind of wise. I definitely think that's kind of wise. Yeah, you're definitely going to want to see proof that you're making higher highs and higher lows, the price is recovering, before definitely getting in aggressively.
You'll know when it's ready to turn around.
It goes.
Right?
It continues to go.
They'll put in like those like $7,000, $10,000 days, right? Like you'll know. We're just not. There's just no one engaged.
I'm just worried about the weekend because the weekend volatility picks up because the liquidity drops, so we get a big, huge either upsize or downside move on the weekend. So we could lose 80,000, I think, for the first time in a while.
I think
on the weekend.
I think so. I think we're headed in that direction. I think the next question is like how low is it going to go? Right, like if you head into what is Saylor's average price, like 60-something thousand at this point?
It could be forced.
Running, right?
Well, there's probably going to be forced liquidations aside from him below 80.
He said even if it goes to zero, he'll never be liquidated. That's literally what he said.
No, but like there is a situation where he may not have a choice. Like all this. Okay.
Dude,
well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just telling you what. He literally said it on CNBC.
Said that,
he literally said it on CNBC. It could go to zero, and we won't be liquidated.
Get him, Michael.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about silver because silver is getting clipped, down 31% and change. It's off the lows at the moment, though. So it was down only 15% when this article was written, but it is now below that $100 psychological level. So key technical area of resistance. Gold also not being spared, down 11%. Below GLD is below 450. That confirms kind of it's a sector-wide move, liquidation here. It's not just specific to a single metal. The futures market kind of echoed that pressure as well, with gold futures, silver futures all down. But it's not just those two. Platinum, at the time of the writing of this article, probably different now, fell 14%. Palladium also dropped 12%. So indiscriminate risk-off behavior here. Likely, again, as we've been talking about, as a result of Kevin Warsh being assigned as the upcoming Fed chair and his views on the Fed balance sheet. We've talked about that a bunch of times. Analysts are pointing to different reasons, though. They're saying a market reassessment of risk as investors unwind heavily crowded trades, similar to kind of past AI equity shakeouts. Stabilization as well. The U.S. dollar removed a acute tailwind. I'll submit to you that the U.S. dollar here is responding to the metals as opposed to the leading the metals down. Central bank gold buying, apparently, according to this article, has been slowing down in the recent months. I mean, we've seen silver outperform gold, but I didn't feel that was the sort of commentary we were getting from central banks, but according to this article, it is. And Warsh, again, I highlighted in green for important, is viewed as favoring a smaller Fed balance sheet. And if you believe that report or believe that view, that he has that view, it will challenge the liquidity-driven thesis behind the gold and the silver strength. And obviously, Bitcoin. And I would submit to you guys as well, small cap gappers. And that's why you're seeing the IWM getting clipped today. It is by far the worst performing major average ETF on the day, down 1 2/3. Joey, silver.
It's really tough, man. Like, and I understand like experiencing a 32% drawdown in a single intraday session. I understand the fear, man. This is detrimental. So many people getting liquidated, a lot of people losing a lot of money. I mean, if you go from the peak to the trough, it's around 35% off of those previous highs. And if you're punching silver at like $100, $105, you're probably eliminating that from your account. The volatility is most definitely in because you just engulfed a month or so of price action here in SLV. As for the hedge, I mean, yeah, it's really tough. It's really tough, even whether it be digital gold or the physical holdings. And someone in the chat was saying, how do you think the physical silver holders are feeling right now? I don't think you feel it as deep as if you were buying SLV or getting into the futures or anything along those lines. So as for silver, it's really unfortunate. In these type of rug pull plays, I completely understand why investors can remain fearful in the overall market, because who would have thought that this was going to happen in a commodity like SLV and GLD?
Yeah, it's again, Katima. Well, Katima has been talking about the short for a while, yeah. And
okay, but that's understandable. But do you think it's going to pull back 30% in a span of 2 days?
Like, I personally didn't think it would. If you're just asking me,
I'm not gonna. Listen, I can understand maybe 15%, 15% understandable, right? Like, but 35%. over 2
Again,
days,
we got a bit of a wild card though with Kevin Warsh. If you believe that this is kind of why we're selling off, it's not something that was, available last week or something that we knew last week or a variable.
Yeah, and that's understandable. But what well, I was going to say something there. But okay, yeah. So this is what I'm essentially getting at. The market will find a reason. If there's a reason to sell, the market, all it needs is a little bit of a spark. It could have been anything. It just so happened to be involved with Kevin Warsh. It could have been something. We made something up. We're not going to get any rate cuts for all of 2027. Boom, sell it immediely, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
35% is excessive in my opinion.
Headline risk is always there.
It's always there. It's always there. There's always headline risk, right? Like 37% in 2 days.
It's crazy.
And that's crazy,
That's
right?
crazy,
That's the destroyer of wealth.
It is. I don't mean to laugh.
Yeah.
But, shout out to Zippers Binder. I love your name. $2 super chat. Thank you, Zippers Binder. I sold my SLV put too early. Missed out on 60K. Sad. Brother, I am sorry. But hey, just, be grateful for the money you did make. I know it's always overshadowed by the money you thought you could have had, that money you left on the table. But it's a lot easier for me to tell you, hey, don't worry about those 60 grand, because I'm not the one that lost out on it. But I can just tell you, good trade. And I hope you print up a storm on something else. You obviously have the right idea. So shout out to you. Joey, let's talk about SanDisk. Because this bad boy's still up 9 2/3, but it is now down 10%, 9.2% since the bell rang. So parsing off some gains here. Q2 revenue, beautiful, $3.03 billion, 31% year-over-year increase on the top line number, and easily beating expectations of $2.3 billion. That's a $700 million meet right there. Non-GAAP gross margins, 51.1%. That's fantastic for a physical product. It's not NVIDIA-esque, like mid 70%, but that's still good for a physical product compared to Apple's, which is really good in the mid to high 40s. So this is fantastic here at 51.1. And that is also up that the margin 21.2% year over year on the quarter. That just tells you how much more they're making on the same piece of RAM than they were last year. Nothing changed, right? No new technology, nothing, no fundamental difference. Adjusted EPS, $2.12. The street was looking for $1.23, so almost a dollar beat there on the profitability. Data centers segment revenue, which is a euphemism, of course, for AI, and the RAM required for some of these servers, 76% year over year, becoming the primary growth engine for the company. Management highlighting accelerating enterprise SSD deployments as well as AI storage is really what is driving demand, and that is their segment breakdown there. Data centers, $440 million, up 76% year over year. Edge, not sure what that is, $1.67 billion, up 63% year over year. Consumer, $907 million, up 52% year over year, and their guidance, fantastic guide as well. Guiding next quarter, Q3 revenue, going to be 4.4 to 4.8. Compare that to the 3 they brought in here, and we're complaining about RAM now. 4.4 to 4.8, well ahead of expectations, and their non-GAAP EPS are guiding 12 to 14, implying continued strong margin expansion. And they're going to invest, Joey, $1.16 billion in manufacturing through 2026 to 2029, to build out, capacity so they can make even more money.
Yeah, I mean, it's been absolutely fantastic as of late here for SanDisk. It's been on a monster move, obviously, with DRAM being extremely in vogue and the demand for it going through the roof, SNDK. But hey, you get that massive gap up, guys. No matter how great the numbers may be in the fundamentals, just be cautious of what you got going on from a technical standpoint as well, too. You experience that gap up. You go on a monster run from the September lows. You're up approximately 1,200%. Like that's insane. This thing was $51 not too long ago, Sharif. It's now around like $673. Don't be a pig and get overly greedy. Lock in some profits just in case. Yeah, I mean, we're not saying sell it all. Take some off something that you're comfortable with and then try to get in at a lower price. I mean, if you were to sell today, the chance of you getting priced lower than $587 is substantially higher.
What's going on, Randy?
What's up, Randy?
You hear about the rumors of Tesla possibly merging with SpaceX? Interesting, huh? The Musk man doing it again. No more Model S, no more Model X is what he's saying. We talked about that yesterday. That's going to be for Optimus. was talking to my mom Dukes yesterday. I was like, so, you know, by the end of the year, there's going to be volume production for Optimus. Is there going to be an Optimus walking around Markham? She hung up the phone on me. No,
You don't want to hear it, eh?
No, she's like, I don't want to live in that world.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's her words exactly. I was trying to tell her, man, like, do you have any idea what kind of benefits you're going to have with elder care? Yeah, man, you know, like, come on, man. I don't know why they hate it so much, Randy. I don't hate it. I like it too.
Get the laundry done.
Let's talk about SoFi, Joey Opsh, because SoFi, interesting look today, obviously reported earnings before the bell. Let's see where we're at. We're down negative despite the fact that we were up, I think, about 8% in the pre. We've given that and then some. So off the pre-market high, so the current price action, we're down 13 2/3. So gives you an idea what kind of crapper the market is in today. Q4 earnings and revenue beat expectations easily, 13 pennies per share for EPS and up 160% year over year, beating that 12 penny expected by analysts with adjusted revenue. It's the first time I'm hearing of adjusted revenue. You always hear adjusted EPS, but it rose 40% year over year now, clearing $1 billion, 1.025 billion, showing acceleration from the prior quarter and confirming, you know, that strong operational momentum that we've got. SoFi added a record 1 million new members in Q4, bringing total membership now to 13.7 million members, Joey.
Yeah.
And the member growth here, important because it's kind of the best leading indicator we have to future volume or future revenue increases, right? The more members, the more monetization potential. That's kind of what I'm trying to say there. Their guidance, also good, 60 penny EPS. Slightly above the 59, with revenue guiding here to 4.65 billion, also exceeding the 4.59 expected by the street. And what I like the best here is the diversification of SoFi's moat. They're originally known for their student loaning, refinancing of that is, but they've expanded into personal loans, credit cards, mortgages, investment accounts, and now full banking service because they got a banking license. And guess what, Joey Options? They're going to now offer you private market investments, something that you and I have been talking about for a long time, and we'll talk about that in a second when we get back from Midday.
Yeah.
Let's talk here about AAPL, seeing some reports suggesting that Apple is losing some more AI researchers and Siri executives to both Google and Meta. We've got Stuart Bowers, a top Siri executive, heading over to Google, and Meta hiring apparently at least 2 other Apple researchers, with Apple AI researcher Zuri Wang also joining Google. Back to you.
These are tough names to say over here, even for your boy over here.
Yeah.
We're studying Mandarin, but you know.
Yanfei Yang.
Fei Yang.
How?
All right, let's see. Well, we'll see after how this is all going to be going.
How do you say that?
Left
How
to
do you
start
say
a
that
new
second
company,
name?
and then one is going to join Meta. This
How do you
is being
say that?
reported. Which one?
Hao Shu. Hao Xuan.
Hao Xuan.
Hao Xuan.
Yeah.
You. Hao
Yeah.
Xuan. You. How are you?
All right, Adam James, thank you very much, Adam, for the $2 super chat. What does that mean, Ram? Why not? Coming to Brampton near you. Oh, Adam, you can't do that, Adam. We like you, but you gotta take it easy there, Adam.
Yeah.
Take it easy there, bro. All right, Joey, SoFi.
Listen, people are just getting sick of getting rinsed from the traditional banking system, you having to pay them to put your money in there. We're starting to see a little bit of a fundamental change, Sharif, whether it be IBKR offering you 5% to hold your money, SoFi starting to offering cash as well too. So I like everything that SoFi is doing. Obviously growing their client base is absolutely massive. Even though the stock took a massive hit here today, I think they're heading in the right direction. So I like SoFi, not necessarily at these levels. Let the selling cool off, and then you can get involved a little bit. Sorry, just because I know we only got a couple seconds left here.
Yeah.
Look, there's a long there in the TQQs. We'll take a little bit more off. Once again, I don't have much there in the TQQs, but a nice little bounce off of those lows. Had to be patient enough for that to work. And then sure enough, we were sitting in TSLL. We'll go over what's it called? What's that other thing that I was trading today? SLV. Yeah, SLV once again tripping over pennies to collect dollars, or tripping over dollars to collect pennies. But other than that, we can't complain. We did get a nice little trade there on SLV, short from $88 down to $84, but then it climbs approximately $14 lower than that, $15 there in SLV. So not horrible and not some bad trading. Just a quick review. And Bitcoin did break the high of the day, guys.
So Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah. I hope Teofimo whoops his bomb.
How do you say it again?
Teofimo.
Teofimo. All right. I won't get that wrong again.
Yeah. I hope he whips his butt.
It's gonna be interesting. Who else is fighting tomorrow? There's UFC as well.
Yeah, tomorrow we have Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. This is gonna be a good one.
Predictions, Katina Man says.
I think Lopez. So this is Volk and Lopez too. Volk won the first one. He won the belt back, but I think Diego Lopez takes it this time.
So a rubber match then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he had a massive fight against Jean Silva, Diego Lopez, that is, in which I lost with 8 seconds left because I needed to go into the second round, I believe, or third round. Yeah, and I lost that one. And yeah, with 8 seconds left, Diego Lopez hit him with a spinning elbow. I think if he keeps everything tight and uses his distance, I think that Lopez can take this one.
All right, predictions on boxing before we.
I want Teofimo to knock the bricks in the. Yes. I want him to beat his face. I like a good old-fashioned beating, like what Patty Pimblett took the other day from Justin Gaethje. I want to see his face busted up, like Devin Haney got busted up by Ryan Garcia.
Whoa, Joey Opsh. All right, you heard it from here. He likes violence. All right, guys, no more kidding. Big boys, they're that away. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. We'll see everybody same bat time, same bat channel on Monday. I'll be at the big desk shortly.
See you guys.